Do wants to be that way? You want to be that way, universe? Be that way. Check this out. Look at this little cage we got for the boogeyman. Oh, snap. So the gate just slides into it. It's a different gate operator. It's not new, but it is improved. And I just asked for the Wifatron. Yeah, buddy. One of the guys got the gate bar welded up, did a nice job. It's holding up good. I should probably throw a little paint on it. We got our light. We got a sensor now. This thing works pretty good. This turns the boogeyman light on at night. We just got our fuel. I'm trying to figure out what the price was. Fuel tank's full. Ready for the apocalypse. Higher gas prices are coming. There's the old gate up right there. See if we see any footprints around this bad boy. Somebody trying to sneak and grab a cat. I think this is the only one that's got one, so they can have this one. Straight pipe. Suckers. You don't see no little funny marks down there. Let's take a look over here. Oh, grass. Grass is starting to grow. Son of a gun. You know what that means? It means we'll have to start paying the lawn guy. Got a light in our camera now. I brought another string of lights, so what we'll do is we'll actually string another set of lights across here for right now. We get the poles. Like I said, probably do some poles, probably run some conduit in the ground. Make sure no boogeyman under the main beast here. Everything's looking good. Looking good. Locked up permanently. Forget it. Forget it, Smalls. This one's going to need tires. Come soon. Probably can make it through the summer. Definitely once it hits fall, we'll need some tires. This old girl, though, she's still rocking the old winter tires. I don't know if you can see the studs in there. There's quite a bit of dirt. See the studs shiny. They work great. This thing was a beast in the wintertime. Got that. Thought I'd leave the tag on. The girls wanted me to take it off. I said, no, so I'm going to leave it on. I wish I had the sticker, right? If I had the sticker, it looked really cool. Tag is nothing. Had to place an order for some doors. I think that's Monday still. I don't think they got placed, honestly, yet. Got some springs. The springs came in. Oh, yes. Service spring. Of course, R&L screwed us again. Not really, but they kind of did. This is the wire. I don't know if Tanner's in the house. This is what we use for all our gate stuff, too. We use typically a 4-wire, 4-conductor, and a 2-conductor. 4 conductors typically for the, what do you call it, for the, I think this is, it says 22, but no, it says 2-conductor 18, AWG. So we use a 2. What is it sitting here? Like almost like they're out. Are they out? Maybe they're out. Chip's in the house. Rusty's in the house. I got my little stereo thing I like up here, so when they keep me in here, I can jam out. I like that little radio. Oh. What's a mini? Is it mini Pearl? I got a different vacuum. I got a vacuum with the Henny. Getting rid of that shark. So I'm gonna find another home. I think they got some shirts made. They got some shirts made. Some extra shirts. I didn't even look at them yet. Ugh. Oh, what in the flip flop is this? Somebody put a little gorilla thing on there or something. What does this say? Believe in yourself. I seen that and I thought, no way they got that on the shirts. No way. I think this is more for summertime. Damn, he says some extra shirts. Got some extra shirts, man. Holy cow, there's a whole crap load in here. Wow. He did good. So you got anything in the front? Any pockets? Yeah, I don't know. He probably don't do pockets. That's too old school. I'm old school. I like pockets. No pockets. I don't like pockets. Like those cigarette pockets. I love those things. I like this gorilla thing, man. Maybe I'll put it over here. Put it up in Milwaukee. That's just so cool. Somebody threw it on top. That's awesome, man. Caleb's. Oh, that's right. Oh, that's Caleb's. Caleb's later. Oh man, having a little fun. All right, what do we got here? Back to serious. Oh man, 2566 says hello. Hello. Hope you're doing good. Thanks for joining us. Is it Caden? Keaton? 7348 says hello. Hello. New hat day. New hat. Got it 2 days ago when I was at the rainstorm, when I was in the downpour. I like these. They're just convenient. I got nothing affiliated or anything or fancy. They just work. You know what I mean? Sometimes I got to have a clean hat for certain occasions. You know, I go meet a new customer, whatever. Glitch grammar and what's this ultimate something? I don't know what that means. Chip, good reference. Before my time, but caught it. I don't know. I don't get it. What is it? Am I missing it? I'm missing it. Whew. I gotta get this 9x7. Like I said, I don't think they got rid of it. I think this is a 9x7. Yeah, it's a 9x7. Look at the racks, man. The racks are working really good. I'm really liking them. Man, they're helping out a lot. It'd be nice if they're full. God, they still got a door here? Yeah, that one should be out, I would think. Let's turn this around here. I don't know what this one's for. It looks like it's a. Is that a Clopay? What's a BD2EU? I don't know. I don't know what that is. I forgot too, Rusty. I was supposed to get that. I was supposed to get the model. Supposed to get the model. And then of course I'm at the Home Depot. And they stiffed me. They got me. Both locations don't have my favorite bungees. This is my favorite bungee, man. I'm telling you. It doesn't weather. It's got UV protectant. It doesn't get all cracked or anything. These have lasted so good. It's almost like it's too good. And they say, no, you can't have that. It's too good. So, and I never even knew it said. It says made. These are made in the USA. No wonder they're so good. So I'll probably have to try to find them online. It's a bummer. Do they have their name? They should always have their name. C warning on something. Yeah, I don't care about the warning. I'm not going to chew on it. I'm not a little baby. But couldn't find them at both stores. I'm so bummed. Because I want like 4 more. I think we're going to do it like a slide out on the van. Thinking about doing a slide out. The way the van's set up is a little different because it's got a seat in there in the middle. I ended up changing this lovely piece of crap. Yeah, that was fun. I don't know why they couldn't do rods. They couldn't engineer rods into it. I mean, they got this for the rod, right? This is your door lock. But the other stuff, it's like, the problem is where it swedges in. So that little slot there breaks because it's plastic or rubber or whatever it is, and there's a cable. So then it turns into this, right? See that one broke? So then they don't work anymore. They don't have the coating or whatever. That wasn't fun. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't fun. And then I found out my cat, because I had the door open, and when you got the door open on that thing, the license plate is empty, the license spot where the license plate would go. So it leaves a hole. Never even crossed my mind, but I realized that this morning, one of the cats was in the van sleeping. I'm like, open up the door, and there's a cat crawling out the back door. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, leave me out in the rain, you son of a gun. He's like, screw you. We got to get some more concrete out by the shop this year. This dirt is driving me nuts. Look at that. The guys do a pretty good job about wiping their feet, but sometimes I'm kind of a clean freak. I can't stand, especially in your area where your customers got to come and stuff, or you got to have, you got to conduct business. I don't like it. The other day, couple days ago, man, they just pelted this thing, this carpet. I've been buying a couple pieces at a time so I can try it without buying it once, not liking it. So next one will probably be something in here. We'll do something over here because this one's getting raunchy. So, all things to consider. I wanted to leave this bare concrete. They wouldn't let me. Go township. Because you really own it, right? The township said, no, you have to have a finished floor. I said, it is finished. It's got concrete. It's going to be polished. It's going to be like clear coated. It's going to be fine. No, it's got to be like carpet. It's got to be epoxy. Stupid. You must have watched. Was it Hee Haw Returns? I don't never seen that. What's up, Smith? How we doing today? We doing good? Bridgeport Extended Panel R18. Oh wow, it's R. If it's 2 inch, it's R. Okay, if it's R18, inch and 3/8. That's a good question. Let me go check. Now you got my curiosity because we'll just see what they did. Normally I'm a 2 inch guy, you know. That's just me, but that's on them if they do whatever. It looks like a 2 inch. Is that a 2 inch? I think that's a 2 inch. Let's check her out, shall we? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's a 2 inch. Oh yeah. Gonna be nice. Looks like it's just white in color. Must be not ready yet. Must be building on the frame or something. It happens. It happens. So you guys all ready for the higher gas prices? You guys all ready to start buying some Ford Rangers? Get some 4 cylinders. It's coming, baby. Can you feel it? I can feel it. Apple is showing signs. The noise, the traffic, it's not there. It's not there, you guys. It's coming. It's coming to a head. I mean, it's kind of hard to believe, but I sometimes tell myself, even under. Ooh, we got 4 likes too. Thank you guys so much. If you haven't hit it, hit the like button if you don't mind. I'm gonna change. I got a shirt I should be wearing. I think I brought it. It's got a little purple to it. Got a few things to drop off here. Let's see. I forgot to drop off. That. Did I bring the cleaner? I hope I brought the cleaner. I'm so sick of looking at the cleaner. Oh, maybe it's in here. Oh, this thing's heavy. Maybe I'll get this tag off. I got more motion lights. I guess I saw them at the store. They don't look like they're much difference in price, but these ones are the Amazon special. I got these finally here. Yes, finally. Stack them up. Let the guys use them. Start sipping on them. Do a little sippy sip. Start tasting it. Kind of going, ooh, I like that. I like that. Good find. Good find. Silver paint. The gate. More spray lube. The good stuff. I can set you down somewhere for a second. I gotta keep flinging you guys. I got my tripod somewhere. Somewhere. If the old rack would work. Bridgeport. I'm enjoying the V8. Oh, I bet you are. Until you get that gas bill. Right? Until you get that gas bill. Everybody enjoys it until they get the gas bill. Probably have to do a fuel surcharge. Oh, this guy is sitting around. He might as well be here. It's always weird too. It's like it's kind of like a toss up, right? Because how do I say it? I ain't gonna lie. I gotta get my shirt on. Throw some purple on. See if we can get Mr. Purple to come. But I had a feeling this was gonna happen. I had a hunch. I already been through the 2006 era. Bada bing, bada boom. So, I feel like I can just take on like ready to go stack a door right now. But anyways, I don't think these ones rattled. Do they rattle? No, these ones don't rattle. So what the thing is, it's a double-edged sword, right? I'm personally glad for Affordable Darn Gate they did not make a new purchase this year or last year or whatever it is, because I think there's some pain to come. You know what I mean? I think there's going to be some pain, especially with this WAR going on. So with the pain of fixing an older vehicle, because I was thinking if they got a new one, I was going to try to get one of their old ones. But like I said, I'm already, and it's so weird, right? Because I seen him post. I seen a post today, first thing I woke up, right? And it said, what was it, Iran? It said, Iran, they surrender, fully surrender. And I was thinking, oh, cool. Like, wow, I don't know how they accomplished that, but okay. Well, we'll see what kind of keeps coming out. You know what I mean? And then there's probably been at least 8 or 10 more posts. If obviously, they haven't, as far as I know. There was no other ones that said they surrendered. And I swear it's just getting worse and worse because you got all, like for me, right? It's like, what do you believe, right? Do you believe that? Is that AI generated? Is that even real? Is that, is that the truth? What's really going on over there? So I don't know, but I don't have a good feeling because what's weird is under Mr. T, you don't have to remember that even the the cough syndrome started. So I don't know. All I can think is they must have dirt on each other, right? The real people that run it, right, got dirt, and it's like you're gonna do this if you want to or not, or it keeps us distracted from something else. But, but, you know who's ultimately gonna pay? You are. The middle class will pay. I will. So we have to be kind of smart. Have to be smart with the money. You have to. Oh, it's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be an absolute mess. Five likes, by the way. Appreciate it. Enjoy it. Enjoy. Add another 10. Yeah, I think we're going to see, honestly, probably more likely, I'm just going to do like a fuel surcharge of some sort, is my guess. But what will happen in our area, in most areas, not yours, Rusty, not yours, not at all, will be is we will see a slowdown with the residential. We probably won't see it with the commercial so much because, like right now, we still got quite a few bids we're doing, but it will come. It will start affecting them, and it might affect them sooner than it did in 2008. You know what I mean? So, and then with the bloom of the private equity or whatever for these other franchise companies, more market being flooded, the pressure of all the AI. So the guys that are smarter than you, than me, that work normally in an office, that actually use their brain and not their muscles, they're gonna be filtering. You know, what I mean, they're gonna be like, I ain't dealing with this. Like, I ain't dealing with this instability. I'm gonna go start my own small something, this and that. I'm not gonna, this isn't feasible. I can't keep jumping job to job or whatever it is. And they're gonna flood with just all kinds of stuff. So you're gonna see, like, I think you're gonna see, and they always say there's a trade deficit, but I think we're gonna see a trade explosion. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? That's my guess. Because it's gonna, there's, what else do you do? What else do you, I was thinking today they should make kits again. I was just watching this one where they're building their own homes. I don't know if the builder kind of helps them, but the homeowners build their own homes. I was like, that's a damn good idea. I thought, whatever, you used to be able to buy from Sears, Robux or whatever, you used to be able to buy, um, you used to be able to buy your house. And I kept thinking, why aren't we doing that? And now we got so much more technology. They could damn near like print on the boards and everything, burn them in. This is this. Put one B to one B and two B to two B and all this. There's a lot of ways to do way more advancements. Because I've had a few customers that was pretty common for them. I remember the one guy told me, he said they lived in the basement. I was like, well, what'd they do about the floor? And he said they never built upstairs. He said they just put tar. They put rubber on the top, like a torch down. And he says, then they lived in the bottom for years. He said, but the guy built this, week by week, two by four by two by four. And it kind of reminded me of my dad even telling me how, when he built the garage at my mom's, I remember that was kind of the same thing. He was telling me how he was going to the gravel place, pickup truck by pickup truck, an old half ton 1977 square body. We called that truck Old Blue. I do miss Old Blue. That was a good truck. Grandpa had it. He had it. I ended up burning it in my garage, and then I scrapped it. If I would have had storage for it, if I had a storage unit or something, I should have probably just threw it outside, put a tarp on it, I guess too. I don't know, but it was burnt pretty bad. So, but I could still plow with it. Still plow with it. But yeah. Mm. Well, just remember, Rusty. Yeah, I mean, the customer does pay for gas, but they're not paying for your insurance, your tabs, your truck payment, your building. I mean, they are, but that's if you can get enough customers. And if the customers dry up, let's just say next week, instead of having 6 customers, you only get 3 customers. And that's what I'm saying. If the media starts talking about all this doom and gloom, I mean, I'm seeing it. It's in our area, man. Like, I can tell. Like, residential is really, you know what I mean? And that's because people are scared. And I know with me personally, I'm not looking at making no big purchases. You know what I mean? It's like, higher gas prices, man. Might be buying me a little Chevy Spark to accommodate. Might have to start spreading out. Go out a little farther for some JOBs. You know what I mean? Like I said, we're all on a tide. We're all in the same water in a nutshell. We all go up and down. Some have bigger ships, some have smaller ships. Some ships can turn fast. Some ships take a long time to turn. It's funny. I'm glad Rick brought this up because I really do believe I do believe we're going to have to go back. I don't see everywhere I look. The insurance is too high. Everything is so high. Our food is poisoned. Like look at how many people don't even like nobody knows how to work on their own stuff. I mean, Rich sent me a wonderful. I wish I could. It'd be too long probably, but sent me a wonderful video talking about how you know, basically in a nutshell, John Deere is locking you out from working on your own tractor, and they've done this for years and years, and they're doing the same thing with these cars. You know what I mean? That's why I almost kind of wish I would have went to. There was an older van yet. That probably would have been cast iron, maybe even throttle bodied, or port fuel injected, or carbureted. I'm ready to go back to carbureted. I understand carbureted. You know what I mean? Carburetor messes up after so long. You replace it, but I understand the choke. I know how to make stuff run. I understand oh, that's too much gas. There is no gas. Don't smell no gas. You know what I mean? Like, it's very primitive stuff, but most people don't know how to work on this stuff. Um, I mean, I can't tell you how many guys, some kind of grunt guys I've hired over the years, and I've watched them try to fire up a power tool, chainsaw, weed whacker, a saw, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Whoa. I'm like, you can't smell that damn gas, dude. That thing is flooded like a. There's gas spitting out the exhaust. Whoa, you know, it's like, yeah, well, yeah, I know you don't know because you didn't come from a farm. You know, you didn't come from having a house and working on your own stuff and on the weekends running a chainsaw. No, you're down playing pool. And some of them lived off the government subsidy too. So, you know, that that didn't help, I guess. But I'd hate to say it, boys. I hope I'm wrong, but it ain't looking good. It's not looking good. I still don't think I brung the damn pine saw. I swear. Let me check my list. Shame, shame, shame. Everybody knows your name. Check under the sink. See if I was a good boy. Dang it! Maybe it's still in the truck. Maybe. All right. Oh yeah, we got Lego homes. You know darn well they could easily with the technology. Now see the question I have is I don't know why they're still like why the builders can't make money. You know, is it just a money transaction type of thing? Is that the problem? Like why can't the builders make smaller homes? It seems like they whip them out faster. Like why can't they make money on smaller homes? I mean, it's just like the SUVs and the vehicles, right? Like all they do is they sell SUVs and trucks. Um, they don't sell. What are we doing here? You know, they don't sell small vehicles anymore. Which, you know, if the other market does it, Japan or whoever, China, eventually that they'll kick some hiney a while. Like I said, and it's just weird how it's like it's always like you know it never fails, right? It always reminds me when I'm damn, you know, diesel's cheap. I'm gonna buy a diesel. Buy a diesel. It seems like as soon as I buy a diesel, you know, diesel's high. Man, I should have bought a gas. Then a couple years later, I'm gonna buy a gas. Man, diesel's too expensive. You know, buy a gas and now gas is too high. It's like it just never fails. Mm, da-da-da-da. Austin produced product plus 30% profit margin. Yeah, get the government out of my vehicles. Right, right. I mean, now what is it? 2026. They're supposed to be everything's supposed to have a mandate. They can shut the vehicle down. They can listen. They can watch your eyes. Um, you know, you're paying for all this technology, and then all this stuff. There's so much stuff in here now. This technology that we can't fix. You know what I mean? That you're gonna have to take to the dealership um, just to access it. I mean, I know Dodge did something not too long ago where it's like they put another port, so like the homeowner or whoever can't access it. You know, can you imagine? Like, can you imagine that your grandpa? You know what I mean? Like they would give them almost like a repair manual. Like here was all the maintenance to make this thing last as long as possible. Now it's like they just lie to you. You know what I mean? No, go ahead. Run your vehicle 5,000. That's okay. No, actually not 5,000. Go 10,000 miles. What kind of retard thinks they can go 10,000 on a freaking oil change? Like, come on, man. Like, no. This stuff gets contaminated. It like goes back to the simple common sense of my mom, right? I remember I'd mop floors with my mom. We were poor, you know. We weren't hungry poor, but we were poor. And I remember she'd be like, I'd be cleaning the floor or something, mopping the floor for this beauty salon. And she would tell me, she's like, David, she goes, you can't clean floors with dirty water. And I'm like, okay, mom. So I go back, I dump it out, I put fresh water in, which was kind of a bear because I had to take it from the sink faucet, whatever, and had a little sprayer. So I had to sit there with the sprayer and dump we used Pine Sol back then. That's probably like Pine Sol. Dump the Pine Sol in a little extra, right? A little extra, make it smell good. And sit there, fill it up, and then I'd mop floors again, you know. But the same concept, you can't take care of an engine with dirty oil. You know what I mean? Like it gets contaminants, and it gets combustion, it gets moisture, it gets so it's just they feed you this stuff, you know. Just like I'm watching the guy, that car nut guy or whatever online, and they're talking about how The GM 6.2 is still having problems. And he says it's funny how the recall never had 25s and 26. Of course they did, because they didn't want to put a stop sale on it, because they rather just give it to the consumer. They don't want to pull them off their lots. I'm sick of being taken advantage of this crap. I'm so sick of the American people falling for this crap. It's just so stupid, in my opinion. So stupid. You know what I mean? Keep buying the junk. I about had a heart attack today. We had Speed Queen take out. It was popping the breaker. It's only 2 years old. I was like, oh. And I watched, of course, a video that said I think there's a certain version you want to buy that has the mechanical dials versus the digital. I had the digital. I was like, and luckily it was a breaker, a weak breaker. So dodged a bullet. But fine with a little communion and its own little community. Yeah, I mean, this one, like said, it was some, I don't know what state it was, but they were making their own. Like, I don't know if they're all helping build the houses or if it was just like the builder would kind of watch over them while they built. It was like subdivisions. But I mean, that's kind of how it was, man. I mean, when you think about it, right? It's really stupid how we live, right? It used to be, was it like China or not China? I would say Japan. I think Japan does like three generations live under one roof. But no people want to do that, right? We don't want to live under one roof because, you know what I mean? Then it's like, but then think about it. Every house, boom, boom, tax, property tax, property tax, property tax, property tax. Got to put a new roof on the place, taxed. You got to pay for electric, taxed. You got to buy gas, taxed. You know what I mean? Like it's all individual tax versus it all being just one bigger chunk, right? It's like when you're doing like single families, right? I'd rather do an apartment complex, right? Because you got one roof and then you got multiple units. You know what I mean? So it's like you can see the benefit with it. Do, 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 do. Right. Maybe, I mean, Rusty, that might work for your area. It doesn't work for ours. You start raising the price when people are hurting the most. Like I said, all our big dogs right now are lowering their price actually. Like I mentioned to the wife, trying to like, do you? And she's like, no, but she's like, I think we should market it on that. Like you basically get an hour, of our time, and we're not doing some, well, I forgot how she worded it, some upfront sales. But she said we really don't see too much like decline in the price. But I don't know. Like I said, I just don't think when times you can't be getting too crazy because people remember that stuff. I mean, you know, like I said, it's always like people don't look for the most expensive truck. You know what I mean? People don't look for the most expensive food, typically, right? I mean, unless it's great service, you might go to a high end place once in a while, but typically you don't go there all the time. You don't look for buying the milk that's $3 more and it's the same milk. So there's kind of a weird threshold, you know what I mean? And for us, I don't know why the violence has gone up so much too. Um, so something's going on. It's like vibrations. There was a movie out there. I forget what it was called. It was something about like I think it was in China. I watched it in the movies or at the theater one time. And there was like these vibrations, and then these animals like would read the vibrations or something, and then they would like attack, and that's how they could communicate or something. It was kind of weird. And there was some like wall they were tearing down, and like they were trying to get the people, and the people were trying to get the animals or something like that. And I thought that's what they do. That's what they do with these phones. They do with the cells. It's probably like my grandpa said years ago when he always was like, I don't remember. We were looking up the sky for something, and he always said the sky it's a junkyard. That's what he would say. He'd say the sky is a junkyard, and I'd be like, what the hell is he talking about? I don't see no junkyard up in the sky. And he's like, if you could see everything in the sky, I don't think he was talking about chem in the trails, but he was talking more about radio waves and CBs and communication, and it's a junkyard. There's all kinds of waves and stuff. You know, and sometimes I wonder if they can do that with us. They can turn a frequency, you know what I mean? And they can make us agitated for certain days, or we can be more calm, or um, I don't know. Mm. Oh, yeah, that's because of the Jones. Everyone wants, yep, a McMansion. Evan's in the house. Evan, did you get that door? Did you do a door? You did a door today, didn't you? Did it go good? Yeah, Canada. That's right. Chuck Norris. Have more technology than the first moon landing. That's if we made it there. I don't know, but do you know what I mean? I know what you're saying. They got more, and they're probably made with all soy wire. That really ticks me off. I mean, I'll never forget the brand new van. And it was like I said, it was in a nice garage, man. It was a guy that was wrapping my truck. I mean, in the middle of the garage. Now he's got stuff around the side. Come on, man. A mouse for like a week decided to like nest up in my. I mean, I'm saying it could happen, but decided to scurry across the floor in the middle of the building. It's a big building. Decided to make a nest while this guy's coming in every day smoking. He's like he's banging on the vehicle, printing out stuff, and chewing my wires. And I remember I had the phone call because my uncle's next to me, and he's like, man, Dave, he goes, you think they know how to make those vehicles nowadays, so the wires or the mice wouldn't want to chew the damn wires. And I'm like, yeah, that's I'm thinking that too, right? And I didn't know until years later. I learned that it's part of the green, right? They want these vehicles to decompose. They want them to be able to decompose easier. Decompose? What are you talking about? I spent a hell of a lot of money on a brand new vehicle. I mean, I don't want to decompose them. So they make the wire out of soy wire. Well, that's sweet to critters. So I was like, well, maybe that was the case for mine. I never went and looked. I didn't have time. I just wanted to get the darn thing on the road. You know what I mean? And then of course, after I get it back, it's got a battery light on. I go to take it to the dealer. I get rear-ended, smash up the hitch on it. So then I take it in. Then they want to charge me whatever $600 to fix it. And I'm like, no, no. Like I'll just take it to my mechanic. And they were like, let me talk to my service writer. And I just didn't have time. I was so busy with phone calls and stuff. I was like, I didn't have time to go down there. I'd be like, show me what the hell's going on. You know what I mean? And as far as I'm concerned, it should be taken care of. It's only got 300 miles on it. Isn't this covered under warranty? Something. Cleans all the time, babysitter all the time. Oh yeah, man. It is kind of a weird. Um, it is a weird scenario. I wonder what goes through those people's mind. I got a 98-year-old grandpa, and I've asked him. I said, "Are you lonely?" And he says, "No." Don't know if he's really kind of fibbing. I mean, he loves when people come over, and I always try to bring him because I know what makes me happy, food. So I always try to make sure I bring him some kind of food. I mean, different food. And he don't eat a lot, but I try to bring something or at least some stuff that I know he likes. And then, I'm starting to get to that age now where, my mom really enjoys the grandkids. And when they don't, they're starting to get a little bit to that age too now where they don't want to kind of go over except for my little squirt. And that's got to be a weird, like, it's, I definitely try to savor the moments because I know that time will go. And so, like, the fingerprints are the memories, like, like, and my kids are really good. They don't do crazy stuff, but when something happens, they break something or whatever. I try to remember. And honestly, when the house is empty, I get like I feel like I need somebody to yell at. I'm not saying like really yell at, but like I need somebody to tease or to give me crap back type of thing. So sometimes I wonder what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like I have entertained that idea where I thought, well, maybe I should like talk to my mother and and stepdad and say like, hey, what if we combined a little bit and we move somewhere? Kind of for the last, like a vendor of mine always talked about having what did he call them? An in-law suite. And he was always saying like a separate from the house or it was like a duplex, you know what I mean? And I think he could be onto something. I think we might see more consolidations because I know at least in this area, I mean, you're constantly seeing people want to either rent a room, a basement. Can I park an RV? Can I park a camp or not a camper so much, but a tent? You know what I mean? Like there's people really struggling, with money aspects of things. So I don't know. I don't know. I just don't see, I think they're saying now people are averaging about 40 to be their first time home buyers. Damn, man. That's getting old. You know what I mean? Like, um, but like I said, I don't see it getting better. I know. We always talk about it though, Rusty. You're in a different your customers will pay $1 million for an opener. You know what I mean? Like ours will not. And ours is like a very like your name is mud. Like as soon as you start pissing people off, like you start overcharging, or they're like, "Why are you $200 more?" Like like I said, I got businesses down the road here. We must have how many we got here? Got one, two, three, four, five, six. I don't know. It's probably about 8 or 10 mechanic shops within a mile each way from the shop here. And there's probably what, three. I won't even entertain them. I won't entertain them. For one, I didn't like their service. For one, their prices were way too high, and a couple times they just like led me on. I think you know what I mean. So like, I won't even entertain them ever again. Like, just won't entertain them. I mean, the guys might, they might still take something. I know some of the guys, like one still has a alignment rack, so like we take ours to a certain mechanic, and then like they'll take it down to that company, because it was funny. One day we went to pick up a vehicle, and it's like they're like, "Oh, it's still getting aligned." And it's like, "Oh, like you guys take it down there? Whatever, that's cool." You know what I mean? It's like nothing like personal. It's just like, and it's funny because around here, the places that do the really good work, I guess, that is at a fair price, are just really busy. You know what I mean? For the most part, like there's, you know, like I know the one place has like a really good heart. Like we've had like I've seen the single mothers or whatever, they're having a hard time, and the one guy he'll pipe in on like Facebook or something and say, "Hey man, bring it over, I'll take care of it." Super good people, you know what I mean. But like I said, our demographics is very different. It's very like the one guy said, the mechanic shop across the street. He was saying, I said, "What do you think about this year?" And he goes, "Oh man," he goes, "I don't know." He says, "We're a little bit busy right now." He says, "Because obviously he said the tax returns." But he was saying after that, well, I think after that it's going to really shut down, because I think you're going to have high gas prices. Like I said, for us, we already got inflation, which I think is a little bit ridiculous. Like, I almost wonder if they knew something that we didn't know. The fact that the steel company was already doing an 8 to 12% increase, and then they said that's probably what they, not for sure, but in about another month we're probably going to do another increase. I'm like, ooh, that seems a little hefty. Always slow this time of year with your taxes come back, and for us to go building, start building up again before we know it. Tremors with Kevin Bacon. Is that it? Is it Tremors? No, I don't think it was Tremors though. This one was like a weird, like I never seen it again. I never seen reruns of it. I watched it in the movies at the theater, but it was like actually like dogs. They were almost like dogs, and they would be running. I remember, and they would have these things that flip up, and they'd get like the frequency, and they were finding out what was transmitting the frequency. It was almost like Tremors, but I don't remember what that movie is called, but I always just thought the frequency, and I thought, I wonder if that's why they have us carry these electronic devices, and they have us, they want to have all these, because like what always throws me is I go, how is it that a radio station, at least our one, I don't know if they're still broadcasting from it, could go like, I don't know, maybe 90, 100 miles? I mean, I know I could be up at the trailer and still get the radio station about barely, and that's about 90 miles. And but yet a cell phone tower can't go over what is it, 10 miles? They got them every 10 or 13 miles or something. Is something seems a little funny there. Podcast. He was predicting a purge of graduate companies who aren't going to rise or raise their prices and go out of business. I don't know, man. I look at it like this: Rusty can't beat the trunk slammer. I can't beat the trunk slammer. Um, Tanner can't beat the trunk slammer because we have overhead, we have high end vehicles, we have, you know what I mean. So like, I think that's why I always knew, like it's really, and it's a balance, right? I understand that a trunk slammer you get, so like I just had a bathroom remodeled that's getting for the rental, and the one company wanted what, 10,000? I think it was over $10,000.
I'm like, yeah, that's not quite, you know. And no, like I was just like, that's not like, you know, the other guy comes in at like $3,400. You know what I mean? But yet I have way more reviews and credit, or he's more credible just from local people. You know what I'm saying? And he works out of a van, like the creeper van that I just got. You know what I mean? Because I didn't even meet him. The wife of Tron met him. I was like, "What does he drive? Like, how old?" She's like, "Ah, he's kind of older." You know, she said, and I was like, "Nice truck. Like, drives a car." You know, she's like, "Just a white van." She's like, I'm like, "All right." You know what I mean? And I've seen his work. He shows pictures. You know what I mean? So why would I want to spend $10,000 when I can spend $3,000? You know what I mean? And I'm probably going to get better. He's local. A lot of people know him. There's a lot of people on Facebook that recommend him. He's always posting pictures of his work. So I'm going to use him. You know what I mean? Do, 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 do. Busy again, like every year, about March, April are slowish. Then it hits the fan. Oh, 9 by 6 3, done. Awesome. Feel good. Hopefully it went good. Yeah, I don't think this year's gonna be a good year. That's my prediction. My banker told me they're already predicting, they said last year wasn't that good. They're already forecasting, they're changing, I guess they're changing how their targets are. Instead of being like a money, they're trying to do it more on like how many customers they get, or service. So I already heard that wasn't so good. The mechanic over here, like I said, not so good. The other mechanic, kind of the same. Kind of like last year was a good year, he said, but this year, don't know what we're off to. I'm just saying this looks like 2008, 2006, 2007, 2008 again to me, because gas prices control everything. If gas prices go up and people's wages don't go up, that's a problem, because that's more money into the gas tank that when they're driving to work, they're focused on. They can't purchase this, they don't have disposable income. You know what I mean? And that's the stuff you got to think about. Like, you guys probably watching, right? You can change your prices. Oh, geez, gas went up. Okay. But the normal consumer, the normal buyer, residential anyways, they can't do that. They can't go to jobs and say, "Hey, boss, gas just went up $1 today. Like, can I get like, like $10 a raise a day?" Doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? So that puts more pressure on them. That's more, they'll just, maybe they got to have that car, right? Because they got to look good. They got to look good. So they'll park that damn thing outside, thinking, yeah, it won't be long. The repo guy is going to come for it. So let it get rained on, let it get leaves on it, let the, whatever, the dust and the pollen get on it. I don't need to park in the damn garage. You know what I mean? When I need to get in the garage, I'll lift it up manually, blah, blah, blah. So that's what we normally see. We see the residential start peeling off. Sometimes you can get about a couple years out of commercial. Depends how bad stuff kind of gets. Um, I don't see it being good. Mm, mm, mm. And I like the guy. Oh, crazy. Oh man. Morgue have a guy out than to buy sure wonders. Stealth hinges. What do you got? I sold an opener. They said my price was close to precision. I offer better service. I'm not overcharging. I'm running a profitable business. 2 good reviews last week too. Hey, like I said, your demographic's way different. You know what I mean? Like for me, we need to work on volume. You know what I'm saying? We can't just go out and do one job because we have employees. And so we have to keep our employees moving. We have to keep them sharp. We have to keep stuff like, it's kind of, sometimes it's like, I don't want to say it's like an illusion, but guys that will start pondering like, boy, I've had 2 days and I'm not doing nothing. I don't know if this place is going to survive. I don't know if this place is going to fold. I don't know. You know what I mean? So there's things like you have to keep them moving in a sense, and they want the cash flow. And sometimes other jobs lead into other things. The vehicles are out. You got your advertising out. The neighbors are seeing it. They're seeing, wow, hey, they're getting something. Maybe I'll walk over there. Blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like, how did I see it one time? You know what I mean? Like in our industry, like you typically can't just like go install a residential opener for $1,000, or I'm not saying 1,000, let's say $10,000, and that's your one job for the week. It just doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? Like you got to keep those people flowing to keep the cash flow kind of moving. At least in our demographic, like I said, ours is very sensitive to price, and like I said, luckily we do pretty good. But like I said, I don't see. Like I said, all I know is for me, I'm glad they didn't purchase a van this year and have that stress on them. Everything is paid for. It's just they can relax. There's nothing that's creeping up. There's no payments. There's nothing that's crazy. I just don't think this year is the year to make that move, because I don't see how anything good can become out of this. Because, like I said, all I'm seeing is tons of layoffs. All I'm seeing, I've heard it from what, Amazon, UPS. Um, what else do you call it? We've had some local shops. We had two buildings closed, 170 some people. GM shut down some plants. I think some in Kentucky, some other places. Um, I'm seeing more bad. The job numbers just came out. Like I said, that was what, 90,000 jobs lost, not gained. And that's not even before it's revised. So when it gets revised, it'll probably be more of 100,000, maybe 120. So I'm just putting it out there as a warning for the average guy, not some of the guys, because that's like the whole housing thing, right? Housing's not doing good, and then you got everybody. Oh, housing's great; they're building everywhere around me. Okay, that's fine. Your area. That's just like if I go down to Indiana. I think Indiana's better money than Michigan. Because, like I said, when I was down there, with Josh, and he's like, "This place is kind of the rough area," and I'm like, "This is the rough area." I'm like, "You got any houses boarded up?" And he's like, "Houses boarded up? What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Houses boarded up, like, like houses burned, like they burned them for insurance." He's like looking at me like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "This is not that bad then." There's people around here, low income, they're driving actually nice Cadillacs, and I'm like, and I mean, I know they're kind of flexing, but they at least fit the part. They're dressed somewhat nice. The car's all put together, not like the Cadillacs I'll see around here, where it's like they got a donut on it, their spare tire. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, or I see them at the gas station, they're on their donut and the donut's flat, and I'm going, how long you been driving with that donut on? Oh, it's been 2 weeks. Can't do that. Turbo, what's up, Turbo? Because Tanner area is similar or his income level. It's not more where he lives around the lakes. Yeah, like I said, it's just all different demographics. You know what I mean? There's only so much cost customer can absorb. Yeah, sometimes it comes down to cutting expenses. Uh, Expenses and bills. It says, like they tell you, 2 ways out of debt. Yeah, make more or spend less. Yeah, that's it. So it'll put pressure. Like I said, I went through it. When I first started out, what was it, 2006? Man, it was so slammed. I mean, we just had people all the time walking up to us at the store or walking up to the van, and they would be like, you know, like, "Do you do garage doors? Do you do garage doors?" "Yeah, we do garage doors." Like, "When could you do this?" "Oh, a couple weeks." "Oh my gosh." My other guy's like 4 months out. Yeah. So I mean, it just came in so easy. And then once the '07, the '08 started happening, boy, the residential shut down real fast. You know what I mean? It was like, uh-oh. And then it went on for 5 years. You know what I mean? In the US, it's hit and miss. It's hit and miss where you're at. Like I said, I'm predicting, there's nothing to like, I don't think like there was two service calls I seen put in the schedule this weekend for Monday, but I think the residential looks pretty quiet. They got some PMs, and then they got like a turnstile gear that they got to do or something. I'm trying to see where this aviation. Let me see if I can refresh this. What's that mean? What is it? It says all about the, what is it, wattage? Is it the wattage that does the vibration? What your price was before. I don't know. I don't know what they know before. I just know when they, you know what I mean? I know if I can feel it, like I said, like I can feel it. To me, it's an energy, it's a gut feeling. You know what I mean? Like when I look at stuff and I just go, things aren't right. Things are just not right. I keep hearing people saying like, like their taxes went up quite a bit, and then they're bleeding people dry. And it's really crappy because I heard too in our little Detroit. I was watching how they, I worked in the little mini Detroit, and I remember they tax you like on your wages too or something. It was goofy, and I was like, what the fudge is this? It was like you got three taxes, and then it was like if you lived there, you got hit. If you worked there, you still got hit. Um, and so it's like sad that they get hit the most, yet they're the most poorest. And then I heard it was like somebody was making something about they were saying didn't they were having 4 digits water bills. These are tiny little crappy homes, you know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, I'm like, so much corruption. Just, you know what I mean? So that area kills. And then when you got everything else, even for myself, I can feel where I'm just going, things are not looking, you know what I mean? They are destroying a lot of resources. And I was watching a guy today and he was saying somebody goes, I think he was saying he's like, you dummies. He's like, you think we just produce? He goes, it's like a global determines the price. You know what I mean? So I think what we're up 90 gallons a barrel or something. I have no doubt we're going to go over 100. You know what I mean? And the longer this presses on, and then you got to remember this is a proxy war. You know what I mean? Iran is nothing. You know who's behind them? It's probably China and Russia. You know what I mean? And who they really like to see go down? Us. You know what I mean? So why not? Hey, let's see what our weapons can do. Let's just keep kind of funding them. You know what I mean? Let's keep this going. You know what I mean? And so I don't know if this is a dick contest. I don't know what's going on, but I think I would have just stayed out of it for right now. I mean, they got rid of that one guy. I seen some people, I guess, are happy that that guy's gone. I don't know. I don't know much on this stuff, but I just sit here and I just go, we're going to pay for it. The American people are going to pay it. The world is going to pay for it. You know what I mean? You're destroying all this energy when stuff is going up. And then what's it going to do for steel prices? It's going to make it go up. What's it going to do for openers and everything else? It's going to make it go up. And that works good for the 1%. That works great for the 1%. You know what I mean? I would love it, man. You know what I mean? Because now I can't they can't blame me, right? Because that's what it's all about. It's not blaming me. It's oh well, it was like when the cough syndrome was going on. Dude, I love the cough syndrome. Not all of it, but I did love the cough syndrome because it made everybody in AFD a great salesperson. You know what I mean? I mean, just stuff coming in, just the phone ringing off the boom, boom. You got a 10 by 10. You got this. You got this. You got this. And then it was like if you had it, I'll take it. I'll pay $200 more for it. And I'm like, I got somebody else that was supposed to. I'll pay $400 more. People just went nuts. You know what I mean? And so I don't think that's going to be so much through this. I think it's going to be more of a different scenario. But regardless, what have you seen kind of really go back down ever since the cough center went around? Oh, because it all goes up. Everything we live in a debt society. Everything has to go up to make it keep working. And that's why when you sit there and think about housing and all that stuff, it's all an illusion. It's really stupid when you think about it, right? You want to sell it because you want to make a profit. Then you sell it. You uncap the house. Somebody comes in and buys your house. You made money. You're sitting there. You're a baller. Then the other person now has got to pay the premium, right? You uncapped it. So now the taxes went up. Works good for the banksters. Works good for the county. That's collecting the taxes. You know, 9 likes, by the way. Thank you guys so much for hitting the like button. Who's this? Scott? What's up, Scott? Says hi. Welcome. I gotta get my tripod. I'm all like all over the place. Customers talk with each other and compare prices. Yeah, I don't know if we see, but people will shop around a little bit. We don't see too much of that because I think 3/4 of them understand that we're not playing that gimmick game, where it's like, "We'll come out for 29.99 and we'll serve it." It's like we come out for a price. We're going to add a little bit more if we need to, supply parts and stuff and material or extra time. So luckily it's pretty good, but you'll watch that phone dry up. That phone will stop ringing. So especially if it starts hitting the media. And it's funny because I hear right now CNN and Fox News is all pushing it, right? So it's like Republicans and Democrats all want this. It seems like I could be wrong. I guess I follow that stuff too hard, but that's what I hear through the grapevines. And I'm like, of course, I'm like, because they just get who's worth through their war buddies or whoever. They get kickbacks. Then it's just we got this. We have this emergency going on, so we got to pump all this money. It's $1 billion for the U.S. Supposedly a billion, probably more. $1 billion a day. Did you guys see we're almost at 39 trillion? It's funny how you guys can't run your business like that, but they can. They can just print, print, print. But the problem is they print more. Our stuff is worth less. That's why when you go, we used to call it Menards, was a $100 store. You go to Menards, you can't leave without spending over $100. Well, now that damn store is probably a $300 store. You know what I mean? That's why I try to explain to the kids and stuff too. I'm like, you take this $100, you go bury it. I said next year it's going to be worth less. I said, you think in 10 years it's going to be worth more? Nope, it's going to be even worse. They're going to be like $100 bills will be like $1 bills. The way we keep going, it seems like it's getting very exponential. Like it's just going so fast now. Versus, and I think it started obviously in 1971. We got off that gold standard. So that's why when I was a kid, when I used to ride with my dad up north, people used to have cottages. A lot of people from Chicago and stuff, they'd have a cottage. And then as the years went by, my the kids, parents die, the kids don't want to take care of it, they just let it go. They just let it go. And I think the reason is because they don't have that disposable income. Some of it's probably some of the drive, but I think most of it's the money aspect of it. Because I always thought to myself too, I thought, how is it that my grandpa, right, could take 2 weeks off? I was like, damn, I was like, how did he take 2 weeks off? And that's just being a one income household. But he took 2 weeks off for hunting season. The money went farther, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Where for me, it's like you're always like, oh my gosh, we got it. Oh my gosh, I got this, I got this, I got this. Like 2 weeks, 2 weeks off. We can't do that with customers. Customers freak out. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that was when I was running the show, and I had to be here, and the customers all knew me, and blah blah blah. Now I'm just a nobody. I'm just a helper. I'm just a grunt. I'm just a guy that shows up. I'm just somebody behind the scenes that tries to play with things a little bit to make things a little better. Retool this, retool that. I see this. I do some research on this. I've been hearing this. Try this. Like that 3-in-1. I like that 3-in-1. That's good. It's good oil. Turbo. He says companies are going under in the UK. Isn't UK like control the US? Isn't that kind of how it works? Is it the UK or Britain? What is it? That's why it's called the District of Columbia, right? DC, District of Columbia. That's why they have their what is that? Their little sanction or whatever, and they control. That's why we've not now we're not America or something. We're called the United States or maybe not America. I can't remember what it is, but it's just free handcuffs, or not free. It's invisible handcuffs. Take any of you to the brink. Bigger your company, the longer it takes to get over it. I don't know. Christmas, I know it's always a weird time of that year because people lose all their money. Like I said, normally the beginning of the year kind of slopes a little bit, then you get tax season, it kind of picks up, especially with the weather. The weather's picked up, so it's kind of picked things up a little bit. But January and February always have been. I know. Isn't that crazy, Rich? I couldn't believe that. That just blew my mind when I seen Blackstone was in. Is it Blackstone or BlackRock? And I have no idea what the correlation is between the two. I know I've seen one that's called Blackstone and I've seen BlackRock. I have no idea what the correlation is because I know the one bought Liftmaster, and I think they've just been kind of throwing her. You know what I mean? They're just doing the bean counting thing, so it's been getting kind of worse. But I was even surprised that even came out, that Blackstone. Like, I was surprised that even on the media. I was like, really? I was like, I thought they were just like, they're just a subsidiary or whatever you call it, a sister company of the, United States, or the whoever part of the Congress or the Internal Revenue Service, and they just get printed whatever they want, whatever you want. We're not buying it. We can't buy it. No, we wouldn't do that. But our friends over here can. I can print whatever. It's like having, like, I feel like at an auction, right? Your buddy's there. You already know what's in the storage unit, but your buddy's there, and you're like sitting there, like, go ahead, like, keep going, dude. Like, dude, there's gold in this safe in here. Like, they don't know. They don't know. Just bid it up. I'm not doing it. No, even though you're paying for it. Yes, I agree. Messed up this year. Normally, do a bit an offer. We had work. Was Harman in Germany though? They have only just started delivering some of our orders from late December. Oh my gosh, that's hardcore stuff right there. What is the reason for that? That's kind of weird. Silver and gold, baby. That stuff, I wonder if they suppress that stuff too. Like, it should be definitely just keep climbing, in my opinion. And when it comes down, and it's done pretty good. I think it's done better. Anybody know what Bitcoin's at? I haven't checked on Bitcoin in about 4 days or 5. Wonder what Bitcoin's been doing. I don't know where does that money go? Does anybody know where that money goes? You know what I mean? Like, how do they get all this money, right? And then, like, it goes back down. Where does it go? That's always my question. Where does it go? It goes somewhere. Does it go to the CEO? Does it go to the business? Like, it comes back down. Where did that money go? And you're like, oh my gosh, I bought it at 60 or whatever, and it was up to 100. I should have sold. Now it's back down to 50. Oh my gosh, like, you know what I mean? Like, ready. We'll definitely be ready this year, but there's always something to pay for, isn't there? Oh yes, yes, something always. Busy from like September to February. Cold and snow is coming. People start calling. Talk about doing that. July, yeah, do it. He says now we are crazy busy than May and June, which is good. Might as well take it. Some sections are in UK stock, so a week, but Harman Rollers. Rollers 5. Second home swing broke over the winter. Houses in Arizona need batteries. Neighbors got new doors over the winter. Now they want it all just hits the fan. Yeah, that's what's hard sometimes in business. Sometimes you need 20 guys, and next week you need 5. Size that can get in a week if it's a rush. Rich has got the deep state. The deep state. It is the deep state. Goes to Oz. Is like Wizard of Oz, or what is it? Oz. Uh, it's capital gains until it's bought or sold. Like that shirt, Tony? I figured it's warm enough out. I might as well start. It's definitely gonna be a cool one. I thought they were talking close to freezing tonight, so that's weird. It's getting that cold. What's it say? It looks good in that color. Look good in that color. Yeah, I know. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah, I don't know. We do have a little bit of people have second homes. I'll get people out of Chicago, up the lakeshore and stuff, but it's not real prevalent. You know what I mean? Definitely not for sure. But I just stay still 41. I just tell you guys, at least the guys that kind of live in the same demographics that I do, be prepared. Don't be scared. Just be prepared. You know what I mean? So if you're kind of on the fence and you're watching this and you're like, I think I'm going to go buy me a new truck or something. Yeah, you know what? You might want to hold off. Higher gas prices. You might want to get yourself a smaller truck. I see our one company. They bought some. They got some Nissans in their fleet now. The bigger one. I forgot. I gotta get that tripod. So it's just things to consider. Like I said, that's why I lived on the Ford Rangers. Once gas hit over $4, I think we're gonna probably see 425, 450. I mean, the one says $4 to $5. And that sucks. That sucks for deer camp. That sucks for taking the kids to places, school, wherever. You know what I mean? That just hits everybody. Everybody runs on fuel. You know what I mean? Got to go to the grocery store. Got to go get errands, run errands, get supplies, parts. Adds up. Is that it? No, that's not the right one. Will I be able to grab it? Is the question. Without the flashlights. Probably a good flashlight. There's my flashlight. I leave it in the shop. Ooh, those lights. Damn things. I'm gonna go to the store and bitch and tell them, say, where's the light bulbs? They advertise light bulbs on there. Where's the damn light bulbs? Oh, there's the flashlight. I tell you what, if you ever want a good flashlight, pretty hardcore one, get the True Night. They got some really nice brands. This is a really old one. I bet this thing's gotta be 12, 15 years old, but it's bright. The lens is still broke on it, and this damn thing just keeps going rechargeable. They work great. I use this quite a bit for doing details, or not details, but doing our PMs. You gotta look up the cables and stuff. The new one's got like a belt clip, or a clip on it. But you know how it is. This thing's just been around. I got two of these. A bigger one. The bigger one seems like it's got some glitches now in it. It's about the same year, but you can get like 10+ years out of a flashlight. I think that's amazing. New stuff don't last that long typically. Have 16. That's a lot of doors to sell. Yeah. Yeah, that is quite a bit. Oh. Yeah, money. Yeah, you're paying more. You finally buy it. That's true. That's true. Yeah, 50. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, if you got tax and stuff, like I said, everybody's situation is different. Um, it's kind of one of those things like that video really resonated good because I don't think we're quite there yet with some of these new modern cars, but I was watching a guy, and that's what makes me concerned about the future because he was saying, what was it? Some of these vehicles have, I think the Tundra is doing it right now. They're doing electric emergency brake. It's electric emergency brake. And there is some ways you can finally find some ways to bypass it. But the problem is the more we bypass it, the more they're going to find a way to make it so we can't bypass it. And I was watching another guy, a door handle. He literally had a newer car. And he says, you can't change. He says, I got the door. The door got banged up. He got another door. And he says, you cannot change that door handle. He says, if you change that door handle, he says, it will shut this car down. It'll put it in a lock position. And you have to take it to the dealer and get it unlocked. So it recognizes that. Now, supposedly it's for theft. I think it's so the average guy, you know what I mean, can't work on his own stuff. And then when Rich sent me this John Deere thing, that was another thing where it's like this guy was going to buy like 12, I think it was 12 tractors or something. And then he realized the cost of this thing because the newer versions from 2015 on, I think it was something like that, we're going to have the software that only exclusively John Deere had access to. So that's going to eliminate a lot of the little guys that can work on it. And I think, you know who I think's else doing it? Those guys. Maybe these guys are going to do it too. But these guys, I think, are pushing more. You know what I mean? I think they're beta testing right now all the cameras, and they're trying to beta test all the Wi-Fi. They're trying to work all these bugs out. So eventually, what's going to happen is, oh, you want to work on LiftMaster? Well, you got to pay us $2,500 a year for our services. Digitech did the same thing to me, right? That was a keypad software or keypad. And I remember when I first called, they said, somebody can call you back within like almost seemed like 2 days. It was like 48 hours. 48 hours, maybe that's what they said. And I was like, so I waited around. I waited around. Nobody called back. Finally, I'm leaving the job. I think I'm almost home, 6 o'clock at night or something. The guy calls. Hi, this is from Digitech. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, go screw yourself, dude. I'm like, you called me now? I'm like, I'm almost home going to get dinner. And I'm like, I'm not even at the job site anymore. Oh, well, that's because you're not an exclusive member and you have to pay us $300 a month. Dude, I only have one customer I've ever came across with Digitech. One customer. And so I think these companies are finding out they can get so much more on subscription than they can, so they can sell you a crappier product, and then when it breaks, you gotta deal with them. You get so overwhelmed, you take it to the dealership or something, right? So it gets me flustered, is what it does, because I don't see things becoming better for the common man. I'm talking like the real man, the guy that's got the boots, the guy that's an American, the guy that's trying to take care of his family, the guy that wants to be able to crawl into his vehicle and work on it over the weekend, the guy that wants to be able to fix his lawnmower, the guy that wants to be able to fix his stove or fix his furnace. No, that stuff's just all like we gotta call somebody. We gotta call somebody. So then what it'll turn into is then you gotta we're gonna have to pay the $2,500. We're gonna be dealing with a crappier product that we can't work on. You know what I mean? I know a lot of these modern cars, some of the stuff just gets to the point it's like, whatever, man, take it in. Where are you? Where are you? You're in here somewhere, aren't you? That's why I endorse the bag vacuum. It breathes better. It has more suction power. And the older stuff is better, unless you buy the really nice stuff like a Riccar. Riccar is a really nice vacuum. It's got a big ass motor on it. And I like a big ass motor. So, what did I do? I got me a Hoover. And these old Hoovers, I think my mom gave me one. It's got some self-propelled. I don't use the self-propelled. But I tell you what, that son of a biscuit pulls like a mofo. Like I love because it would like pull the carpet up, and it vacuums good. So this one actually got repaired. Put a new belt on it, 2 new belts. Bought some bags. And now I'm getting rid of this stupid shark that I think they put a small head on it. So it feels like it sucks. But it's got this container. I hate cleaning the filters on it. I hate it. Which that reminds me. I have preventative maintenance to do. Rich B. I gotta clean the filters on that. Every month. I'm supposed to clean them. So I need to clean them. Maybe that's tomorrow. Maybe that's tonight. I don't know. We'll see. Small print. Oh, that is true. That is true. But then you also got to think about if you could take that money. So, like Mr. Caleb's been doing really good. He's actually investing money. Then you wonder about if you would take that money and invest it, and it compounds, right? Then you got a twofold. I know they don't supply bulbs, but I tell you what, the professional, Mr. Caleb, that's going to probably install them because he's a professional. He's gonna install bulbs in there and everything. Because he knows if I see no bulbs, no worky, you're done. You're done, man. Dang, we got 10 likes too. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. What do we got here? Yeah, my wife, that Rusty. If you sit and wait to build a house, it's just going to cost more. Yeah. Or, another way to always look at it, right? One of those things, right? God will provide. He will show you the way. So, I mean, I guess in a nutshell, too, if the economy tanks a tank, you might find some stuff for really, really cheap prices. Because I think that stuff needs to come down. I really do. And that's what they do. You know what I mean? I think that's what the investors do to us. I think they make everything fluffy, and then last minute, boom, they say, oh, everything's falling, the sky's falling. And then when everybody's running this way, they're buying up all the properties and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say. It's definitely hard to say. But that's why I also think, too, I still really think, like I said, I'm still trying to find some drawbacks. Like I'm always thinking about the young guys. And I'm thinking if I was starting out, I just really think I'd do one of those man caves. I still even been looking at one of the man caves because it'd be nice for the vehicles, be nice to be able to work on them. It'd be nice that they're secure. Um, it'd give the guys kind of a relief. You know what I mean? They could do their own stuff over there in a sense versus having to be here at the headquarters. This is more the sales. This is more walk-ins. This is more selling product. Because it's just an expense. It's just like, you know what I mean? You make so much money. It's just like a write-off. You don't have to worry about it. The roof starts leaking, call the landlord. The driveway needs to be plowed, not your problem. Do I got to go buy a plow truck? No, that's their problem. You call them, man, this guy's plowing, not doing very good. You got to cut the grass. You ain't got to cut the grass. You know what I mean? Like this place, I've been sitting here vacuuming a couple days, whatever, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like sitting here just going like, I just want to be like, so you want to own a building? Like there's just so much. They got to make sure the building's secure. You got to make sure stuff's lit. You got to make sure the gates are closed. You got to make sure the vacuum's working correctly. You got to pay the electric bill. Oh my gosh, if the power goes out, what if we have a like you're almost like you're trapped. You know what I mean? Like you don't have like that's on the landlord in a sense. Like he don't want the building to freeze. You know what I mean? Because he's gonna have broken pipes and stuff, and so that's kind of on him. You know, garage door quits working. I don't know if the garage door is part of them or not. That's inside. I don't know about that. And I think about it because they want like some of them. They want like 200,000. I'm like 200,000 to buy it. Why do I want to buy it? Like I just want to use it and forget about it if I want to move or something changes or the flexibility. But the only thing I don't know about is like a dumpster or scrap. That'd be kind of a weird one. Ooh, the LED. Dude, the mag light. Dude, Rich, I forgot about that. I was just thinking about one of our old hunting buddies. He just passed away a few years ago. And man, that was always like the contest, you know what I mean? Like who had the longest, you know what I mean? I got a stubby. But you know what I mean? I always remember the guys. That was right. I forgot the guys come up hunting, man. It was like, got a new mag light. Another guy, that's pathetic. Let me go get mine. And his is like this big, Another guy, oh, what? Really? I even got this. Watch this. The one that wrap around. He always used to like that for night hunting, a little legal activity. But I remember, man, they just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And they definitely weren't that bright compared to what these guys can do nowadays. But yeah, you're right. The LED, I don't even know if does Maglite. I have to look that up. Does Maglite even still in business? Yeah, that was always the big deal, man. Maglite. I got your sweatshirt on. That's okay. I was wearing Tanners. It was like really awkward because I wore Tanners and I'm like, I'm gonna wear Tanners. It's a nice sweater, so I thought I'm just gonna wear a sweater today. So I was wearing it, and then I went over to I went over to the Home Depot, And normally this is the, I think I've mentioned this. This is the girl I went to school with that was like super smart, made me always feel so stupid in school, but yet nothing against it, right? But she works at the Home Depot, and I'm always like, man, you were the smartest girl, and this is where you're at. Like, and she's just a cashier, and she's a nice lady and everything. But I'm always just like, it always tells me how like being active and outgoing and salesperson and stuff can take you farther, possibly, maybe money wise, not maybe a better life or anything. I'm not trying to say that, but you get what I'm saying. Anyway, she was working today, so I was kind of surprised. So I was surprised she didn't question me, like, who's this? Um, and then when I'm pulling in the parking lot, who do I see? I see my boy. I call him Skip, but he's driving in with an unmarked truck, a Chevy, a half-ton Chevy, just a standard box, and I can see. I'm like, I know I can tell just on stuff on top of the truck. I'm like, that's a garage door guy. I see it's him. He passes me, and he's got all kinds of crap in the thing. Like I don't even know why he's got that loaded. I'm like, you got way too much crap in there, dude. He's got openers, track. Like for a half ton, you're killing it. And I don't know if he's just like driving around trying to like advertise he's got a bunch of junk in the back. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like junky. There's a nice new truck, but just too much stuff. Anyways, he parked at way at the other end. I was like, I'm not going down there. I'll probably see him in the store. So I go in there and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, how am I going to explain this? You know what I mean? Like, who's this? What, you start another company? No. Anyways, I guess every first Saturday, they for the kids, they're building something back there because I had to go back by the electrical. And oh my gosh, the slew of kids and the bing, 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 hammering on the tables back there. I couldn't find the breakers. So I found a guy, a nice guy. I said, dude, I said, where are the breakers at? And he goes, they're kind of over by those kids. So he walks over there to me and he points where they're at. And they got all the tables, all the parents, all the kids. And I'm like, my first thing was like, yeah, F that. Like, I'll just go somewhere else. Like, I'm not going through that slurry of. And he's like, well, what are you looking for? So luckily he helped me out. So I showed him a picture and he we're just wiggling in here. And he's a bigger dude. So I had no problem, man. I just followed him. And he's like following, he's like breaking the waves for me. He's like the big boat. I'm the small boat. And so he's in there and he's like, which one? They got two different versions. He finds, I was like, I want a 30 and a 40. Anyways, he got it for me. I really thanked him for it, because I was ready to bounce. I think he knew it. I was just like looking at it. I was like, I'm not going through all those kids. Like, I'll just go somewhere else, man. These kids are having fun. I don't want to deal with parents. Let them be, man. I'm just killing time. And so yeah, it worked out. But I never seen him. I didn't see him in the store. I was looking for him too, but didn't see Skip anywhere. Do, 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 do. The customer's driveway had to disconnect battery terminal. That's weird. That's weird. Why that happens? Yeah, I'm assuming that's like every time. I would assume that e-brake comes out. I'm not sure how those work. Those come on every time you put them in park. Is I have one van, one truck that covers the overheads, and another that's profit. I'm just going repairs, etc. What's an e-brake? Emergency parking brake. Yeah, a lot of the newer vehicles are having these electronic ones, but I think you know, they're pushing for this stuff that's gonna have failures, and then you're gonna have to take it in. You know what I mean? I think that's what they're pushing for. Right, a handbrake. Well, that's what we used to have. We used to have a foot brake. That was our emergency brake, and then you have your e-brake, which was your emergency brake too, by your like a shifter or something, or sometimes a manual. When you do your drifting when you're young, because you're super cool, right? You got to lock the back wheels up and do your drifts if you have snowy conditions. Yeah, those are good times. They always seem like they got rusty and crusty though if you don't use them enough. So that's why I kind of thought, oh, maybe the electronic brakes, but sounds like they're having problems and you can't access the software. Test it. Rich sent me something about the Black and Decker. It's a handbrake. Yep, definitely does work in emergency situations. Absolutely. going to be subscriptions for options. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was thinking about it today when I was watching that car guy, and he was saying with that 6.2, all the failures they're having, and he was mentioning. I was glad he brought some of the stuff, but he was saying, this really decreases the value of the vehicle too, because I feel like I'm the only one that thinks this, but he brought it up and he said, you got to imagine that it's going to show on a Carfax report that this has had a motor replaced. And he says, some buyers are going to look at that and say, boy, this thing's been, and I know how it is. I know I've had stuff serviced and stuff gets scratches, the fenders and stuff. And then you got just some snot-nosed kid that's putting stuff back together that's minimum wage or whatever, and he don't give a crap. Wire's good enough, and it gets pinched, and I got stuck between the transmission, pull it back out, it's still good enough. It'll probably corrode in a couple of years. Um, and then so that hurts the value of it. And then because there's such a big lawsuit, I thought, I just can't believe that they still don't change this. And he says, well, hopefully with the lawsuit that they feel enough pain with being like burned by money. And I thought, like, wouldn't the reputation alone be enough to be like, we have to do something different? We need to come out with something better. We need to remedy this now. But it's like they have so much engineering, so much tool and die that they would rather just eat it, keep producing and eat it and eat it and eat it and give the consumer a really crappy product that, like, I'm like, how do they even keep going? And I was thinking, like, all I kept thinking in my mind was like the people that buy the vehicles, no matter what brand or whatever it is, like you guys, like you don't matter. Like they don't give a shit about you. They don't care about you. That's what pisses me off. You know what I mean? Like nobody cares. You know what I mean? But people just live in this fantasy world. I just keep buying stuff. I don't care. It was 120,000. And I'm like, okay, like I don't mind buying something 120,000, but I want something better. You know what I mean? Like I want a better product. I want better quality. I want better engineering. I want more durability. I want something that's like we figured out how to keep vehicles from rusting at least for 10 years. Wow, that's amazing. I would give you 10,000 or whatever dollars more for that. But instead, it's like, no, we go with cheaper metal. We put foam in the fenders so it collects more dirt, so it rusts out faster. We don't put drain holes in the fender or in the frames, so they rot out. You know what I mean? So it's like we do what is it? Chevy does a wax coating. I think Ford's a little better. I think they do some kind of painting coating. But we do all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a crappier product. And I just go, what in the heck is going on? And it's just like that's why I really these openers and stuff are really, I think the garage door manufacturers are starting to figure it out. That's why they do 5 years and then we discontinued that. Of course you did. So I got a customer, it just needs one panel, a top panel or something, and now you discontinued it. Awesome. Great. Congratulations. Good job. So yeah. Mm, get a royal. Please explain that chipboard system for me, mate. The clipboard. Oh, the clipboard? So back in the day when we didn't have Jobber, a CRM system to put all our customers, which now I couldn't even imagine. I just couldn't even imagine. Like it's so nice because actually now, like when we do our preventive maintenance, it puts pictures with all the stuff that we found and stuff, and then we can do our jobs and stuff, and it just keeps everything all housed. But before, this was the best I could come up with in the beginning, back in like 2006, 8, whatever. So basically, it was like a Monday. So now, what it's turned into is realistically, this is all inventory and it keeps growing. So we might expand more over into here. So this is mostly inventory sheets. Um, so I'm glad we didn't get rid of them. So, but they used to be like Sunday through whatever, Sunday through Monday. We'd have clipboards. Ones were for some like jobs or whatever, but this is basically what we started out with. The secretary every time would be filling out one of these, name, blah blah blah, date, all that stuff. What's going on? How do they locate us? What's their main phone number? We had time in, time out. We'd have write down what was going on. We'd have it used to be a 4 sheet, now it's a 3 sheet. The only reason these are really here is because of me, because I'm old school. I like to hand people stuff, and I don't like dealing with technology. So we got some of those. But we're not supposed. I have to do double the work because obviously I'll fill that out. Then I'll take pictures of it even so they know they got something. And then I gotta put it in Jobber and all this other kind of stuff. So it's a lot of extra work. But nope, those were just kind of the clipboards. As jobs would come in, they put them in. We had a color coding system. We used to have colors for everybody. Jobber has colors. I don't know whose color is which, so I need a little like icon above the computer because I know that confuses me. But if I look at my phone, it's a lot easier because it'll show their names. But we used to have colors up there, so we knew when we, for the day. So people would come in, grab 3 clipboards, 4 clipboards, all blue. You're all blue, whatever. I forgot how we did the colors. I think we just had stickies. I forget what the stickies were that we used. But we had little stickers that we put on. Probably one of these is what we used to use. Oh no! I think we did do something like this. I think we did something like this at one time. We did something like this, but this got ridiculous. So then this brings back memories. What we do is we did clips. We'd start clipping. So we knew that was so we could change them. They're not permanent. We used to put clips on there. So I think blue was me. If I remember right. I was blue because that's the color of the business. So I was always blue. Blue. How do you do? I don't know if anybody else has it. There'll probably be another clipboard around here somewhere. It's probably got a stash around here somewhere of those clips. And that's how we knew who was what. Not enough time. Nope, it never is. It just gets worse and worse. It's like you go in this peak, and then you're gonna get old, and then it's like it's hopefully kids or you got enough money to pay for services and all that. They'll take care of it. I seen that the Black and Decker Snake Light. That was never called. Was it never called the Magnum? It probably never was it? Isn't Black and Decker? Does Black and Decker own Maglite? I don't know. Black and Decker was always in a lot of stuff. Like Black and Decker, I think was part of like DeWalt. So it was like I remember when the first 18-volt DeWalt stuff came out, and I was always like, yeah, I would never have a Black and Decker. They always had some really like homeowner stuff with little cheesy batteries, like just pitiful little drills. And then it was like, then DeWalt came out, and it was like that was the cat's meow, man. It was like, whoa, man, 18-volt, these bad boys rip. And and I heard at one point I was just like, they're owned by Black and Decker. I'm like, oh. Like, but they're still good. I like them. Like at least they learned their lessons. This must be the Contractor series. Comes on when you park on an incline. Oh, that's kind of cool. It knows. The paper system works great. Yeah, it probably works good. I mean, I just some of the other businesses that I have, we do some paper stuff, but like when I look at this, nope, nope, nope. I couldn't imagine. Like we got 2 secretaries that work remote. So you gotta, it's kind of like when we did our QuickBooks when we finally started doing online. Like that was the best thing ever. Like I could look up jobs when I was on vacation. I could look them up. I could quote them. I could still work on them when I was remote. And then they already know, right? So they're already going to be informed. They can look whatever day they want to. If they want to look Saturday, if one of the techs want to look or the weekend, which a lot of them do, they want to see what they got to do the next day. They can see all that stuff. They can see pictures. They can see notes. I think the phone system can be tied into it. Otherwise, we can get them the phone system so they can hear the whole phone conversation. And I think it was kind of like what I was talking with Tanner. We were kind of going back and forth on like he likes to still use the wire nuts, which there's nothing wrong. Like I said, it's like the way I always look at it. Like if it works for you and like you don't have callbacks and you have no problems or you have no blowbacks or warranty work or whatever, then keep doing it. What I mean? If it works for you, but we were talking about the wire nuts. So for us, I was getting guys using wire nuts, and sometimes they'd fall off because they tip them the wrong way or they get bumped, they fall off. A lot of times they were wire nutting them, they do it too much or whatever, they'd snap the wire. I did it a couple times myself. So sometimes the wire was snapped. We didn't even know, you know what I mean? Then later down the road, a couple weeks, a month, it could be longer. The customer call, door's not going down or something. What? Go there, son of a gun. Then I had guys that were like, some were electrical taping it. Like, when you do wire nuts, you're supposed to electrical tape them too. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Then it turned into like it was almost like they didn't have wire nuts and they were electrical taping them. And it was like, you go back to the job and you're like, dude, that looks like crap right by the man door. Like, no. So we went to those gel connectors and we've had really good luck with them. I mean, you can get a little bit crazy with them, I guess, and break the wires. But if you get the 3 and M's that like Papa Tony got me and I got onto them, those things are amazing. They're just a hair bigger and they're a little bit more, I think, robust. And if you got the tool, that even works better. You know what I mean? It's a little more idiot proof, so for kind of how to squeeze it. But to me, it's a feel. Like I know I can look at it too when it comes down about where it needs to be. So it's just a preference, you know what I mean? But like I said, the way I look at it, like I said, we use gel connectors for our photo eyes. I don't ever talk about it. Light bulbs, we don't ever talk about it because we provide light bulbs. You know what I mean? It's one of those things, like what really grinds me in a business is when we start talking about it. Sometimes this can be with employees. I've noticed this, right? If we start talking about an employee quite a bit, quite excessively, and it's kind of bad things, like they're doing this, and we've tried to remedy this. We've tried to talk to them about this. We're like sometimes me and my wife have this thing where we would always say, like, if we're talking about them over the whole weekend, it's probably getting to be about time they got to go. Just how it works. You know what I mean? Like if we're constantly like, they're doing this, they're doing this, they're doing this, they're doing this, you know what? They're interfering in our time. Why are we even talking about them? But what I'm getting at is like when I look at it and I go, like the gel connectors, ever since we had gel connectors, I don't hear any callbacks. I'm not saying we don't ever get one or something. We hardly get any callbacks. It works. The guys all know what to use, what to get, what to do. We use Jobber. I never, never hear anybody come to me and go, that new software, well, it's not working, or, it doesn't do this, or it doesn't do that, or it won't link to this. It just, between QuickBooks and Jobber, it all meshes, it all works. And that's for a business owner. That's all you want. You want the trucks to fire up. You want you want it to be, like I said, I'm always looking at is, like I said, anybody can make a better hamburger than McDonald's, but can you build a better system? That's what you're trying to do. Is you need to build a better system. Because I would rather make 10% of somebody else's 100% work. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want to always be 100% the one that makes the work. And that's what's great about with affordable is that typically everybody don't have to work really hard. You know what I mean? It just all fires on all 8 cylinders and you get the job done. You come together when you need to. You can kind of relax when you have to. Everybody's kind of got a role. Everybody does, but you're not overwhelmed. That was the big thing. I just had a guy, a technician, um, came to me twice, even though I'm kind of not really the head, but he said, man, he goes, I really am happy with what you built here. I really appreciate everything you've done. He says, the people are amazing. He says, you guys treat me really well. You let me take some days off when I need to for family and stuff. Um, yeah, that's fine. You know what I mean? As far as I know, I think he's doing great. So, and that's the idea. You know what I mean? Um, secretaries, they used to come in. I didn't like that because the fact is like we work in a small space and then it normally turns into a lot of this. That's just stuff that's not even really productive. And then what turns into is also um, the traveling, so then you run into that weird, like, do you pay for their gas? Do you pay for their oil changes? Do you pay for a company car? Then you got the weather you got to worry about. They could get into an accident if they're traveling a little bit. There's a lot of liability, you know what I mean? So, and I think that's what's going to happen with this economy coming up is we're going to have to make sure you tighten the belt, really make sure the customer is a good customer. I just had a guy ask me for another residential opener, and I told him, I said, he goes, will this work on a 10-foot door? It's only a 7-foot, rail. And I said, we can get an extension. I said, but if you can send me pictures, I said, I can give you my expert opinion. I said, if this opener will be powerful enough, or you might need something bigger, you know what I mean? But these are things you learn, over time. The next thing will be is where are you located? Because I do get some that are kind of out in the, and I'm trying to figure out how we could service that area. the Grand Rapids area because we do get quite a bit, and there's quite a bit of demographic over there. There's a lot of people. But right now you can. I don't mind it so much because the roads are good. But when the roads get crappy, is that worth losing a 30, 20, 40,000, 50,000, $60,000 vehicle? No, I don't think so. And losing somebody getting hurt, or killing somebody else. Mm-mm. Nope. What's up, Grajor? What's up, Smith? Black and Decker Portable. What's this? What's up, Dave? Oh, I think I missed some here. I was hoping you say, mate, we use CRM now. Can't beat hard copies for some stuff. No, we couldn't. We got too many customers. Like I said, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'll sit here and I'll ask Cap. I'll be like, "So have we worked for this customer? Have they paid their previous bill?" And I mean, he's like in there. He's like a ninja, man. He's like, nope. He's like, they haven't paid their last one, so I'll make sure. Or he says, nope, they're all up to date. They're all paid. Last time he was there, well, let me click on this. Look at the pictures. Yeah, it looks here. You want to see? And I look over his shoulder and stuff. I mean, it's just amazing if you got the clientele. If you don't have that much clientele, then you can get away with paper. You know what I mean? But when you're dealing with a week just customer on top of customer on top of customer, and then you got employees, and then you got secretaries, and then you got accountants, and then you got attorneys, it's too much. You know what I mean? It's just better to let them have access and be like, I got a problem. And they're like, okay, what am I looking at? How do I, just get in there? Okay, yep, I see it, blah, blah, blah. You see everything, you know everything, you got the pictures, you got this, you got the signatures, how did this happen? Why was this approved? Blah, 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 blah. Um, the wife works a lot from home. You know what I mean? She don't come to the office all the time. She'll come in here occasionally when they need some help here and there for certain stuff or customers are gonna. But like I said, boom, she don't have to come here and look through clipboards or find it or notes or this and it. It's just all in one spot, man. It's just it's in the cloud. It's there. It's great. Couldn't imagine. Ooh, forgetting to order doors. That's a common one. That is a common one. Typically, I don't think we really have that problem. My big thing was always getting signatures. We had one builder that always ticked me off. He wouldn't sign, or he'd always write on there something per Dave. It's approved per Dave or something. And it's like, dude, just sign the damn thing. Like I can't tell you how many times. Then the stuff would come in and it'd be like, why isn't it brown? I'm like, what are you talking about? Didn't I tell you we needed brown? I'm like, you never told me. And I mean, that stuff affected me. Like I was like, damn, dude, like you know what I mean? Like where, and I'm not even like, I don't even get mad. I always tell everybody, when I was at the helm, I say, I'm not mad at you. I said, I just want to know where the problem is. I said, did I mess up? I said, did the vendor mess up? Did the secretary mess up? Like, where was the problem? Where was the miscommunication? But that's why I'm always saying, like, you got to have that signature. That way I can come back and go, customer, this is what you signed for. Did you not read what color the door was and the size or like you? I can understand stuff happens. That's fine, but having that signature is just gold in my opinion. What's up? What's up? Black and Decker Porter Cable and DeWalt are the same company. Yeah, nowadays, what is it? MTC or something out of China? I think that's who even makes like Milwaukee or something. I don't know. Some like big Chinese company or something. Can't remember who it is. Maybe it's Japan. I don't know. That almost like they're like the MTD. Oh yeah, got a story, man. So looks like you've been working, man. That's been good. I think you're working for some door company or something. So that's awesome, man. Super proud of you for doing that. Uh, what does that mean so much? What's your view on employees doing side jobs? Okay, I thought it said site jobs. I don't. There's a couple ways I look at it. I don't frown on it too much anymore, like I used to. I'm more. So here's a couple things, right? Couple things is I look at it like we're just trying to we're ever since I heard when you think about other countries, kind of like my stepdad, he always put this in perspective to me. He goes, Dave, he goes, if you were another country, he says, why would you not want to have weapons to protect yourself? maybe even the end, the nuke, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm thinking, and he goes, or he says, think about it if it was your own house. Wouldn't you want to protect your family, your kids, your wife, your husband, whoever? Well, yeah, yeah, I would. So why wouldn't these other places want to? So, anyways, that kind of put me in perspective where I just sit here and I go, I don't look at it so much as competition, even though it is competition a little bit. I look at it like we're all trying to put food on the table. We're all trying to make a living. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm always kind of like certain vehicles can only take you so far. You know what I mean? Like pretty much, I don't think there's one person that watches my channel that goes to work every day in a suit and a tie. Why is that? Because that vehicle doesn't support that. You know what I mean? That's why I kind of go back to the rich dad, poor dad. You have to have an exit plan. You don't get on the highway without an exit plan. I don't go down to Papa Tony's without where I know I'm going to get off the road. You know what I mean? Like I got an exit plan. So I don't look at it like, I look at it like we're just trying to make a living. Now I prefer if they're going to, potentially, but I'm also a big box store guy. My biggest problem sometimes I have is that they want to use the vehicle. It's not that I'm opposed all the time. The problem is the weekends are sacred to me. You know what I mean? Like that's your time to finally have off, especially if you're a hardcore business guy and you got to deal with employees, which is like a lot of stress in itself. Because the couple weeks I've been back in the business helping, and I'm already dealing with customers on my own, just that are not even new customers. There is a new customer. It's gonna be what, Monday, I think. But it's a lot of stress. Trying to. I mean, like, there's just so much to it. Which model door should you go with? Should you go with this? Should you go with this? Should you go with this make? Should you go with this price? Just so many things to think about. But the weekend, because the problem is, if they use the vehicle, they get busted on the weekend or something. They get a ticket on the weekend. They get in a car accident over the weekend. They do a job and they forgot the tools. And now Monday comes and now they're supposed to go do something else. And they, you know what I mean? Stuff just does the Houdini. So I'm not opposed, like I said, if they do. I mean, it is kind of nice if they let you know a little bit. But like when it comes to their grandpa or um, a mom or something or whatever the case may be, and we normally don't charge. Might put a couple bucks if they need a part like a spring or something, But that stuff I don't really frown on it like I used to. I used to look at it like, in my mind it was always like, oh my gosh, it's a finite thing. You know what I mean? Like there's only so much, and if they do that one, then we can't make ours. And it was, my business partner used to tell me this all the time. He'd say, he'd always be like, I don't know why you get so worked up. He says, he always tell me, he said, work is always going to be there. And he's right. Like ever since we started, this place has grown and grown and grown, and work is always here. We just keep chugging along. We provide a good service. We have our ups and we have our downs, but you just keep showing up. You keep being persistent. You try to provide a good service at a fair price, and people will keep coming back. They'll spread the word. And that's it. You know what I mean? So I don't, like I said, I don't really frown on it too much. Um, it just, if they're going to try to impede on your customers, but there's guys that will too. There's guys that will start. Um, I've, we've had a couple and none of them really succeeded. Well, none of them succeeded to take our, take our area, I should say. Um, some went and they lost horribly. You know what I mean? But they were scammers, writing bad checks. That'll get you in trouble. Not being honest. Looking at greed. I don't think this is so much a greed thing, and it's almost a passion. You know what I mean? There's a lot of other things I could do that's better money than garage doors. Um, it's you enjoy working with your hands. You enjoy putting something together. You enjoy stepping back and seeing your work. You enjoy kind of the challenge. I love that you get to see people grow, succeed, move up, provide for their families. So it's I don't know, and there's always room for improvement. So there's like, if you always like to challenge yourself and try to find ways to make the system better, there's always a million ways, and you'll never find them all. It seems like it's just You're digging every day. Is best fitter. He definitely earns money. Don't trust him. He says I've told him you can do whatever on the weekend as long as you buy the door from me and it's not a customer relating to eh, related to. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they could always buy the door. We got a lot of box stores, so you can do other ways too. So they got a lot of options. We have a lot of options in our area. We have a lot of box stores. We have a lot of lumber yards. you know, and every situation is different. That's why I typically just stay out of their guys' ways. You know what I mean? Like Cap's got a really big job he's working on. He'll come to me for some questions here and there, but for the most part, I'm like, whatever, like, you know what to do. You know what I mean? He landed like those big jobs that we did, I did a little bit of clips on them. I got some video eventually coming out about them. Those were great, great profiting jobs. And he did that. I mean, I told him, I didn't even think about it. Right. I was there installing it and all of a sudden it dawned on me. I went, damn, I was like, this cat did a damn good job. You know what I mean? He measured up good. He did the details good. He told the builders what to do. Um, he did a damn good job. You know what I mean? Everything fit really good for what it was. I mean, ordered it, got it delivered, basically told me, said, hey, can you be at the job site at like 7 in the morning? Cause we got this being dropped off. We got that. Not a problem, man. I will be there. I even bring some extra reinforcement. Suppliers become his suppliers, or yeah, supplies. Yeah, could be, could be. I don't know. Like I said, you know what I mean. You just can't. You know, I don't know. Sometimes you just can't control. Sometimes there's just kind of good people, and then there's bad people. And I've had some bad ones. You know what I mean? I remember I had a guy. He was lying. He was lying about a lot of stuff. He was taking openers out of the scrap. And I asked him one time. I seen it in his car. So I'm like, "What's that opener for?" Oh, it's for my grandpa. You know what the worst thing is? You want to do is don't ask. That's what'll piss me off if you don't ask. Just ask. More than not, I will say yes. But if you need to ask, you know what I mean? So I looked at it like you're taking openers out of the scrap, which the scrap gets used for the business. And at one time when the cough syndrome was going around and the jab, that money, that $200, we needed that $200 for payroll. You know what I mean? Like it was like you're watching your money just dry right up, and you're like, $200 sounds pretty damn good right now versus nothing. And now you're taking money, and then you didn't ask. You know what I mean? And then who's to say you didn't need parts for that opener? Why was that opener deemed bad, or why was it thrown? You know what I mean? And then you didn't ask. So now, did you need remotes for it? Where'd the remotes come from? So there's just a lot of like stuff like that, that they do fishy stuff. So that's the big thing. How many calls is that for me? We average right now what I've been seeing on Ring Central sometimes between it can be about 12 to 26. So, and most of them get this commercial and some of it's residential, and they get pretty much all, from when I listen to the voice things, they get pretty much solved. We convert them into a customer. You know what I mean? Is what I'm saying. They don't, there'll be, two or three at least a day that'll be something just, do you guys work on a man door? No, we don't work on man doors. You know. We're doing that full view Tuesday. Tuesday is a great day. A great day to do that. Not Monday, Tuesday. That's a great day. Because Monday you might get a little overflow from, you know what I mean? Monday's a crap day. Monday really is. Like I don't like Mondays because that's like when you gotta everybody comes in, everybody's like talking about their weekend. Oh man, you ain't gonna believe what happened this weekend. Tree fell in my house. Oh wow, yeah, that really sucked. I got it almost cleaned up. Tonight I'll have it all. And then it's like so Monday's always crap. Friday, Friday till like noon, everybody wants to go home. Nobody's like wants to do extra service calls or anything. So that's kind of the traffic's horrendous. Everybody's driving like a bunch of idiots because they're like, I gotta get home. Um, So Monday is a good day for like, let's sharpen the saw. You know what I mean? Like, let's get the pecking order. Let's get a few service calls in. I normally would try to schedule, but like I said already this weekend, I see they got 2 calls. They came over the weekend, and so they put them over to Monday. So they probably didn't want to pay an extra price. They would have paid a premium. So one says, what is this one? I can't see. I hate on the computer part of it. They know how to whip through it. I don't. If I go to today, which is great, and if I scroll from there, just today, if I click on show on day view, okay, we'll try that. I can see 2 are stacked. Okay, so I got that one. So one's a broken spring, unassigned. Go to this, see if there's scroll. Where is the second one? I can see it there, I just can't get to it. I don't know. There's a second one on here for something. I can look at my phone better, but I'm on it. Yeah, we bought our gas cans and okay. We bought our gas cans and drill bits. I know, I'm thinking about instead of getting a fuel tank, I thought about if we start doing that's why I put up that little post about trying to do the speedy rewards. Wesco is closed, so you guys probably don't have Wesco. That's another gas station. But maybe to help somewhat offset the price of gas a little bit, because yeah, with this one and my other one, they use fuel like crazy. Say I don't want my competitors to starve. I just don't want to eat at my table. Them, yeah, that's funny. I was hoping I was going to see Skip because I was going to tell him probably with the economic times coming, I was going to say, like, see if he wants to kind of unite on some stuff. Be like, come on, unite. Because I know, like, today he's driving an unmarked truck. And I was explaining that to, like, Caleb. I said, that's why you might not want to mark up your vehicle. I said, because then you could always help out with other companies or whatever. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about your vehicle being marked. On the table. I meant to say, yeah, it's all good. Problem is when they are bothered about their own job. I have customers of theirs ringing up saying they were in your van. Yeah, it's hard. Like that's why I'm always kind of a big like you got to find, when you can find good techs, the big thing for me is like they're trustworthy, they're honest, they're trying. That's the big thing. They're trying. You know what I mean? They don't have to be perfect. They're trying. That's the best, good attitude. You know, I don't like to be around downers. You know what I mean? There's enough downers in the world. I can even be a downer, so I don't like that. I don't need no more help. What's this say? It says, yeah, fixed, but I enjoy. Yeah, I could do feed fix, but I do enjoy crash doors. Oh man, that's true, man. That's true. That's true. Um, so we're a foot model on the side. Yeah, yeah, he's a foot model. There you go. That's funny. There is a lot of different stuff out there. That's for sure. That is for sure. Women, I wish I could say, yeah, loads. Yeah, yeah, right, right. Send, yeah, loads of money. I know. Those darn women, they got it made. They got it made. Because my feet are smaller. I think I'm younger. Yeah, that could be. That could be, man. Uh, it's good to keep it honest. You know what I mean? Keep it honest. That's the way to do it. But man, like I said, I got this one guy down the road, you know, and I don't, it's just weird all the struggles you go through. Like he's got a 3-inch Rainer door, and I still can't even wrap my head around which way I would go. He needs about two bottoms and two intermediates. And Raynard's saying they're going to do a conversion plate, and then they're going to also give springs. They want new springs on it, and then they're going to give you the panels. And then he's got to paint the door. So I get that price, basically $5,000 for the cost, which I think is a fair price. 4 sections, two bottoms, two inner, um, two sets of springs. That's not unreasonable. I don't think. Going to paint the door, and so then I said, because then of course I give him the price, and then he's like, well, he says, what about just replacing the doors? Of course you're going to ask that, and there's no reason. I totally understand asking that. So I said, well, let me get your price. I said, I actually got a good vendor. I said, let me check. I said, but I said, you're going to go from I think those are R24, 23, somewhere in there. I said, to like an R10. So I said, that's a pretty big difference. I said, but I understand you open the door, it's leaks and weather seal. I said, that's not always everything. You know what I mean? So I get them a price. Basically, it's the same price. Now I'm sitting there and I'm going, what do you do? He's already got the doors. They already got pretty much fresh springs on them. We've already changed springs on them not too long ago. So they're year and a half, roughly old, maybe. He's already got an extra set of springs for those doors. I think personally, we're going to put sections on, and we could probably keep reusing the springs because they got openers on it. Or do you change it out? But the problem is now we're going to a 2-inch thick door. And I told him, I said, are you planning on repainting the doors? They're red, bright red, like Pizza Hut red. And he goes, well, yeah. And I said, that's the problem I have. I said, if you paint those 2-inch thick doors, I said, I'm not saying for sure it's going to happen. I said, but I said, those doors might want to warp a little bit. I said, with the heat because they're facing the sun way. Or I said, you already painted these doors. They're 3-inch thick doors, and you've had no problems with them. No problems. What do we do? He's like, I see your point. And I said, you got extra parts for these doors. You know, that was a lot of work putting the numbers together, getting all the stuff, had to call Rayner down out of state to find somebody that would help to even give me this information. He's already had us there. The other guys were there. They couldn't find nothing. So this guy's been waiting like 2 years. And then he called the Rayner guy in our area. They said they don't make them anymore. They can't help them. They would only do it, and anyway, he says, and does ask, got to give him that. What's this? Paul? Is it Paul? TMS. What's the TMS? Thermal spans? Oh, it's nice in tight spots. Oh, Torque Master. My so here's my take. I like the Torque Master. It depends on what you're doing. If I was going to do some more subbing or possibly selling them out the door, I might consider some thermal spans or some Torque Masters. I liked them that they were all inclusive. I liked that when we had technicians, they were 2 boxes. I don't think the springs possibly last as long as a torsion spring. I think they're easier to some degree. I never ever had a torque master ever come unspooled on me unless it broke a spring. But I've never had one fail. I don't know if they're more forgiving if the door, you know what I mean? Because I never used to level the tracks. I mean, I just slammed the tracks to the ground, bam, 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 bam. Put my torque master. My torque master I always remember I would put it on. I think before I put up like the top panel or something to get my width because sometimes like my door was too tight. But once I found out the glitches with them a little bit, they weren't too bad. I liked them because they didn't have to service them. So if I had like an older lady that I knew her husband wasn't there, and she's like a widow, and I know she's not going to service this door. I don't like the rollers on the. I would love to upgrade the rollers to some actually rollers, not Silent Glide. But they have their place. I had a guy that was part of one of the DPWs, and I did his personal house, and I was in that weird dimension for height. I didn't want to do rear mount. I really didn't want to do low headroom. The Torque Master fit, so I do like having the Torque Master in the arsenal of the goodie bag. But I mean, the springs do eventually break. Normally, people want to convert them because they don't want to wait. Normally, it used to be like 2 weeks for us. We pretty much get a shipment, I think, every week now. Um, but you know, they had to wait. They want to wait for them, because we didn't carry them in stock because there's all different weights and doors and dimensions. But I don't know. I don't mind them. I don't mind them. They're almost kind of like if you were broke down on the side of the road and there was a uh, what is it called, the Winnebago or something, a Pinto, whatever, that Chevy car. I'd take it, even though it might explode on me. I'll take it. It's better what I got right now, which is nothing. I ain't riding. I ain't pedaling that damn bike. So they just got their own little place sometimes. What I should do is I should price them. Maybe I'll do that next week. I'll price one against the Rich Beador just to see the comparison. Because I should get one again. I kind of miss it. It reminds me of my good old days when I didn't have gray hairs. Because I used to slam those puppies, man. Those babies. We used to pump out a lot of those. A lot of those. And I loved them because all I had to do was focus on weather seal. Because sometimes they put it in the box, sometimes they didn't. So that was my only thing. Everything else was in the box. They had all the hardware in the end caps. And it just boom, man. I'd load up 2 boxes. Wham. A lot of cardboard though. We had a lot of cardboard. That was the crack part. That's why I like the fans, because when we had so much cardboard, I just shove it in the van. Boom. Shut the door. I go home. Mondays. Yes, yes. Leave Mondays for fires. Exactly. Exactly. There's bleed over, man. There's somebody right now, could be in your area right now, that is got a broken garage door right now. And they're gonna call you maybe Monday. Maybe right now. Extensions. Jam Krispies, they actually suck, or because supply is hard for you to get. Um, so there might be more. I might be kind of slow here in the comments, but they for us they're relatively easy. The only part we had is like when you go out to the customer, if they got the room, we already had regular torsion springs, so it was like you're out there and it's like, or I can do a torsion spring for like whatever. Sometimes I would make the price pretty close, so they would just do it because I don't want to come back, right? Because everything to me is time. My time is precious because I'm not going to be here much longer. And so I want to do it now. You know what I mean? I already scheduled this. I already have you windowed in here for this time, my opportunity. So I'd always try to like make the price about the same. I'm like, you can wait 2 weeks with the broken door and we can come back out with a Torque Master. And so I had like one or two that would be like, well, it was originally what was there. And so I want that. I'm like, okay, sure. But most time I could get them. But like I said, sometimes I ran into situations where I'd be like, ooh, like this is just not gonna, like, I need that couple inches of it brings it down. And I would say I still like them over that easy set. The easy set, they work, but I still like my Torque Master. Both run okay. I like how you can't service them or clamp. Yeah, clamp them. That's true. Customer until new spring shows up. Yep, 9 series. Yep. They don't know the spring is broken. Yeah, that's another thing. I don't like that you couldn't visually, like they can't visually take a picture. I just start looking at the year. If I know the year, like if there's a sticker or sometimes they had prints under the panels, I could look and they'd be yellow and tell you what year they were. And I'm like, if it's 8, like once we start hitting like the 8 years old or older, I'm like, it's got a broken spring. So I just lift up the door and it's like, oh, it's pretty heavy. Like I don't even mess with it. You know, I used to like tear the torque master apart and find it and have to like get the other piece out and feel like I had to convey it to the customer. Like, look, I found it. Lucky Charms. And they'd be like, oh, and they didn't like really know. They're like, what does that do? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And now it's like, I just go, it's got a broken torsion or spring inside there. I'm like, you can't see it. We got to get you a new one. So here we are. This is this price or this is this price. And then they normally go, oh, just fix it. Whatever you got to do, just give it. I want my door running. I got to go work tomorrow. Okay. And opener, just open the door. Just a power opener. Shorts the life of the opener. Yeah, or you got they had that weird bracket. The top bracket seemed to stay. I don't remember many top brackets getting ripped out if you screwed them into the struts, but those center ones they used to have on those 9,000, man, those things always rip those suckers right out. Definitely makes sense. A common problem for you guys. We get quite a few, especially when I'm in the fall. This fall wasn't too busy. It was like it almost just trickled through the winter. You know what I mean? Like it normally is like fall when you get that hot and cold, man, you'll see it. And then it's like normally it kind of feathers off. It just seemed like it kind of stayed instead of all happening in fall, it just kind of all went through the winter, you know, like instead now we got maybe it's right now because it's the springtime. There's another one for Monday. Problem boils down too often. Someone runs. Yeah. Yep. Running their doors. Man doors are getting to be pretty obsolete because builders, it costs more money. You know what I mean? So I can't tell you how many times I go in a garage and it always is a bummer too, especially if you got to work on it. Or if the customer's got stuff parked in front of the door and you're just like, why? There's a man door right there. I don't want to go through your house. So that's why I always made my like self a little goodie bag, a little handheld. I almost put like I almost knew or I left it in there. I can't remember in my van, but I'd leave all my stuff like maybe pairs of grips. I'd have what would I have? I'd have a file. I'd have winding bars. I'd have my wrenches. I'd have my lube in there, and that was like my little to go kit. So like if I was in there, you know, I had to walk through the house. I'd be like, "Can you push the button?" I use the garage door to opener to get it up, and then I'd bring everything in, and then I would like do like the please be good to me, door gods. And I would bring the door back down, run over, help it down, whatever I gotta do, and then you know, bring your ladder in, all that stuff. Hopefully, I don't gotta go through the house. Um, you know, but once in a while, it'd always get me. I did like oh, you can walk through the house. I gotta go like down the hallway, through the kitchen, through the hallway. You know, dogs nipping at my leg. You know, kids are sitting there bouncing off the walls, doing something. Hey, it's okay. How you doing? Don't mind me. You know, and I'm like, where's the stinking man door? Screens are a common problem in all garage doors. They cycle life, they'll break, but cold weather does not help. See that over here. What do you use, Turbo? I forget. Do you guys using counterweights? They just do high cycles? Probably because you're using don't you use kind of an extension spring on the side? Extension springs seem like they do last a long time. I still know the ones at my mom's are still my garage was built got to be 40 now, 40 years, and the springs still haven't broke. The one side did, but the other side's still going. Mm. And stretch the spring, wind it, and lube the spring helps. Premature setting right, uh, and setting was the right trump first. So what is it? You guys always? I was just doing this the other day. I think I always gravitate because I'm a lefty. I always gravitate towards the left. So I was thinking about that the other day, and I was just like, I know they say something. I was almost going to message one of you guys, and I was like, whatever. I was like, I just make it work. It's like I thought it was funny because I had somebody. They must have seen my one of my videos where I slipped it. You know, I put a mark on it with a permanent marker, and I slipped it, and they were like, it just seemed like the way they were describing it. I don't know for sure, but they were kind of like, oh, I'd like to see they do that on a commercial spring, and I'm like, I was like, I don't think they obviously do garage doors. I was like, commercial typically has a key in it. I was like, so don't really do it on commercial. I think he even said like 6-inch springs or something. I'm like, 6-inch springs? I'm like, yeah, like those are keyed. Mm, for right side, don't forget about the Sherwinder. I've been looking, man. I was trying to see if I could find any Sherwinders in the local area again on discount, but nothing. Nothing. I'm probably just gonna have to call them. Bite the bullet. Even did industrial, only they didn't break too often. Huh. Change their panels. So they have the super dumb. That's what worried me about that conversion. I just saw, then I was thinking that would be my luck. We get the conversion, we pay the $5,000, we get all this stuff, and it's like, oh, something's not like it's clicking funny or it's popping funny. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we should have just did new doors. Everything would have been fresh, everything would have been right. There would be no, because I thought, what happens if you put the conversion plate, depending on how big it is, now your top panel's sitting out or something. The door's raised up. You know what I mean? Something, just something. There's always something. Let's try it out. Enjoy a white space. Don't go to the gym. Inside, Joe Paul. First, always. Harmony use torsion springs. Oh, okay. Okay, yep, big. Seeing them do 25, yeah. Torsion springs, like, or was that just say torsion springs over 4 million one big door, little scene over do 25. Wow, that's a long time. Maybe they're doing high cycles. Maybe they get better quality. No legs. I don't know. My ex girlfriend. Ground beef. Uh, lean. There you go. Lean beef. What is it? What is it? Cut off line or pickup? Oh, no legs at front door. Oh my gosh. With 2 legs. Matt, what is this? Elephant paint his why did he paint him? Tanner says your mom. Rabbit. The cherry tree, Tony. Pretty good. Oh, Pinto was Vega was Chevy. Okay. Whatever the really crap one that they always talked about blew up. That's what I was thinking. They call Tony, yeah. I don't go after 5. But I think we are pretty well off. Let's see here. Rusty says, yeah, same over here. Getting organized for what is a bit now. What's the Rich Pinto had? Cool. Fesca reaction. Seat belts. Oh. Wasn't when I worked for the other companies though. Oh, dang. Somebody got whacked on that one. Hire me. Promise I'm reliable well with others. I think we've talked about this before though. But you're far away, aren't you? You're like another state. Slip the coupler. I know that's what I was thinking. I was like, you normally got a center coupler, which I feel like I got to watch that because we did that one out there in the Grand Rapids, and that was a bear. Those were those Wayne Dalton? I think those are Wayne Daltons. Man, they got me good. The cables are way. I mean, I level the track, man. I don't know how, but we were like, it's like 2 inches of cable difference. I'm like, what in the flip flops do I do here? Like, I don't even know how to like. I guess I could have brung a laser up and another lift or something, or my lift even, and just lasered across and got, maybe that would. But then if my something was off, just my track, I don't know. It was a nightmare. I put some swedges on it. I tried to get it to balance out. I mean, the door was going crooked. And I'm like, can't have this. And I was just bound determined not to tighten up the drums. I think they're pure high lift, and I know those get sketchy. If you get too much out of whack, man, the door will, like when it goes up, it'll start crawling on you. So I guess an adjustable coupler wouldn't always help with that, but I it was off, man. It was just off, and I was like, man, what I would do for a center coupler on this right now, adjustable center coupler. I think this is just I had to do it on all the doors. And I'm like, how? Why is this? It's almost like their brackets weren't the same or something. It was a nightmare. I even took some and lowered the brackets, drilled them. It was not fun. Not fun. Remember that I would be surprised if they had belt. Good Jeep cars when you were a kid. Time belts would break. Oh, I think they were done. $20 belt, and you're good. So they must have not been interfering. They were a non-interfering motor. That's nice. Like I said, that'd be nice if you could rebuild it. Just a belt breaks. You know what I mean? And get it back up and running. It's not a bad gig. Oh, let's go and grab some stuff here. Oh no, they weren't. They weren't interfering. They were actually thinking about the customer back then, trying to make it so you could fix your own car instead of when it breaks, you just blows it up. I really try to always understand if cars really need to be interfering. Like, do you really gain that much for them being interfering? Like, they need that extra room, or do they need the do they need hello pine saw? Mwah. Do you need that much compression or whatever they're trying to do? You know, that always kind of throws me. Like, something seems a little fishy. They just do that to make it so they blow up, or they can get you to come in and get more money out of you. Oh, I know. That's what I'm kicking myself in the butt for that Ford. You know, it's got aluminum heads cast for a block, and I'm like, you wonder why. At least this is my opinion, obviously. I don't remember the older vehicles breaking head bolts, or not head bolts, exhaust manifold bolts, like these newer ones do. Um, I think Chevy and Fords both are pretty common, but this one's got some broken, and of course they're a nightmare to get to because they're in a van body. So I only got one. Some dude makes this kit. It goes in the bolts already on the block, and then it's got a nut that was tightened down on it, a bolt. I think I'm gonna go that route because it's not leaking that bad, but you can hear it just a little bit. But ever since it went and got fixed, boy, she's running pretty smooth. I'm just hoping there's not something with the coolant. The coolant seems weird. What throws me is I don't even know how to explain this. Over the wintertime, I got a message from one of the guys, and he sent a picture. He sent a picture, and he's like, something's weird's coming out of Jay's van. And I'm like, I mean, it looked like drops of like coolant, probably almost like along the rail or like the frame or maybe the exhaust or like a fuel line. But it looked like diesel, the color of it on the snow. And I'm like, so he sent it, and I said, I don't know. I said, have the one guy. I said, he's mechanically inclined. I said, have him take a look. See, I said, look underneath it. I don't know, like, what do you do? And so I showed up at the shop later that day, and I'm kind of sitting there staring at it too, kind of going, now what in the heck would make that trail? Like just drippy, drip, drip, drip. And then what's weird is I was under that van yesterday, whatever day. We had a white, like a light rain. And it was like, I was thinking, my goodness, the way this is dripping a little bit looks like the same. And I'm thinking, what is going on? Like, is there a coolant leak and it sprayed at one point? Because I think on the Nissan even, I seen some, it almost looks like, it looks like dried up coolant on the exhaust. And I'm like, where did that come from? And I pressurized it. I don't see no pressure drop. I'm like, hmm. So, but when I was washing the vehicle the one day, I took the power washer and I got an underneath carriage one. I was spraying, just kind of. And all of a sudden, this green stuff comes down. I'm like, what the heck? Like I activated it. Like it's been dry. Like it's been a slow leak, and now you got it wet and it turned green. or the residuals coming off. So I'm like, this van's kind of got it. And I'm like, I just don't understand what this is. Like, I don't understand. And it's just everything is moist right now. Everything is really foggy. The last couple days have been just like humidity is really up high. So I have no clue what's going on here. Heater core? It's just weird. Like on that Ford one, at least, the Ford one's obviously different. It's on that, like it was like dripping off the, like I dripped, like I touched it. And I was like, that is like neon green. I was like, what in the heck is that? And then I was like weird because I had the flashlight and I was looking down by the muffler part and it looked like there was a couple drips. And the way it was going to drip, I thought, my goodness. I said, that looks just like what that van did, that Chevy van. Now, it hasn't done it since. We've parked on snow, never seen it again. And one of the guys was mentioning something. He goes, do you think it was that undercoating stuff? And I said, I don't know why it would look like diesel fuel. I said, you know, or coolant. I said, that stuff that gets sprayed on. I said, it's brown. I said, it's like brown is brown. You know what I mean? Like it don't look like diesel or coolant. And I just don't understand where that came from on that Chevy van. And then I recognized it, and I was thinking, I'm gonna have to watch when I start it up, see if it smokes. I haven't watched any smoke or anything come out of it. So of course I did a little Google search, and it turns into, you know, it says you know, the head could be cracked. It said, you know, some other couple things. I'm thinking, oh boy, and uh, and I just don't know it yet because I haven't put enough miles on it to trust it or know what's going on. So we'll see. Still to be determined. But I know, just to give Tony some crap, I was doing that handle. I showed it earlier in the video. I had that handle, and I was just sitting there, and for some reason, I was thinking it's probably not very. I don't know. It's no big deal. It's joking, right? It's men stuff. I was thinking about the guy that used to drive that Ford with the turnkey. I mentioned we called him Dirt Pile. He was a great dude. And I was sitting there and I'm messing with this door handle. And I got my hand all up in there and I'm trying to get the bolts. Everything's falling on me a little bit. And I'm just, you know, I'm it'd be like this with any manufacturer. But I was thinking about Tony. I was like, why would Tony let Jeff buy a van, a Ford? I was like, this stupid Ford. You know what I'm sitting here dealing with? I'm like, why would they make this out of cable, not rods? And then I realized after I put the license plate thing on, there's like this metal plate. I'm like, what? I like started putting the screws on and it would have gone on. But then I'm like, what the hell's this metal plate for? And I was thinking, oh, I was like, that's because if you took the license plate off and you were to smash it, you could reach up easily through the door and you could pop the door handle or pop the lock. And so I was like, I really don't care about that, but I thought, well, I'll put it back on. So I took the screws out, I put it back on. I was just like, I was thinking about that saying, but I was thinking, I don't have a saying. I was like, this freaking Ford. I was singing to myself, you know, I was like, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. If it wasn't for my Chevy, oh, that doesn't work. My tools would rust. That's a Chevy. All right, well, flipping Fords, you know, drive a Ford, live forever. You know, uh, found on road dead. You know, I was just thinking all these. I don't care. I don't mind any of the manufacturers. I really don't. I just whatever is out of the shop. You know what I mean. I might care when this one blows up because it's not an LS 4.8, 5.3, 6 liter. But that's all right. You get what you get. And you don't throw a fit. What Mama says. Looks like Dookie. I know that's what I'm saying. Like the undercoat stuff's brown, man. Like this looked like nuclear, almost like it looked like. I was like, that looks like fuel, and I thought, well, fuel will be clear. It looks like diesel, and I was like, why would it? You know, huh? And I was like, that looks like coolant. I was like, it ain't red. I was like, it ain't brown like engine oil. It's just it looked nuclear greenish. Like all I could say is I went that's whatever. And then the stuff off that van, I was like, I was touching it, and that now somebody else might have put different stuff. The stuff I'm putting is orange. I'm like sitting there, I'm like this looks like totally yellow. And I was like they almost use that what's that one stuff? It's universal transmission fluid, you know, this or not transmission coolant you buy at the store. It's just universal. It's that color. So we still got to go through. Just ordered an oil filter for it. Just topped it off on the oil. Don't know when the last oil change was. Transmission fluid could be serviced. Sure, the rear end could be serviced. But I'm trying to get this thing to gain my trust. Mechanic for some reason I ain't gonna touch it, man. They got the radio working, which is awesome because I couldn't get the darn thing to work. It's got some new technology digital thing. It's got some weird camera in it. So that might be kind of good for backing up. The dudes that kind of had it for it's like he's kind of got wires ran very loose. I got to tighten everything up a little bit. I found out how to get the seats removed. There's a couple seats that were. I'm pretty sure this van never came with them because these are transit seats in there. So those are kind of nice. But I'm kind of wondering how I'm gonna haul a door with them. But I guess I could take them out. I didn't think about that. Cartwheeled a Pinto 3 times. Oh my gosh! When I was 18, oh my gosh, newspaper. Oh my gosh, man survives. Wow, on impact, son of a biscuit, man. We're lucky that PT is here. Holy cow! Yeah, did you win the race? No kidding, man. Horse and buggy race. Was that, yeah, Illinois? Back when you could drink and drive, they didn't give you a DUI. Just a ride, yeah, just a ride home. Yeah, Indiana. Yeah, they. I know there's a guy. There's something on the news. They got some guy up, a police officer. Because everything is like I'm not really like I don't think I think they should kind of do the old school a little bit, give you a little bit of leadway. But I guess like the cameras and everything were rolling, so they hit this one guy that was a off-duty police officer up in Ludington, Michigan. And do you think he got it? Nope. They gave him a ride home, and so they got a lot of controversy over that. But I guess that's the privilege sometimes. About once was a young man was driving home, got pulled over. Officer asked if he was too drunk to drive. He said, "Nope, just drunk to walk." Followed him. Yeah, my grandpa, I remember he used to tell me because he used to go to the bar quite a bit up by the hunting trailer. And I guess he'd find vehicles in the ditch and he'd pick the guys up, take them back to the trailer, let them spend the night, you know what I mean? So they didn't get in trouble, get them sobered up. That was kind of a common theme, I guess. And he actually swore by it, which I think is just a one off. And of course, he was drinking though, right? He went off the road, and since he went off the road, he smashed into a tree. It sent the steering wheel through the back seat, and it was like an old Dodge something. And he said, I would have killed me if I was where, but he rolled over, he slumped over in the seat. And then when he smashed, the steering wheel went through where he was sitting, said it would have killed him. But I guess if he wasn't drinking, he probably wouldn't have that problem either. You know what I mean? So it's kind of so he always was a big advocate. I don't wear my seatbelt. He drive like the Dickens. I remember I'd follow him one time up north, and he's you gonna be able to keep up. He had a Cadillac. I think I had a truck. And I'm thinking, Grandpa's pretty old. I was like, yeah, I'll be able to keep. Shoot, man, that dude was doing like 85, 90 down the highway. I'm like, we are so gonna get pulled over by the cops. Like, yeah, yeah. Just be glad we didn't have. That's the thing, man. That's the thing. You're so right with that, Rich. I mean, and that's my dad said this to me before. He says what really changed with the hunting and stuff like that. And he used to scout land and go on, basically trespass. Maybe not posted, but just trespass. Go look at lakes and stuff and people's, up north. There's nobody, no hunting season or something. And he said, what all changed? The phones. He said before, you'd have to find a landline. Hell, I remember when I used to go up north to the trailer. Uh, it was very common. We had to go down to the farmers. We had to go down to the farmers. I have to call my mom, let her know we made it up, we're safe. Um, not now. Now you just sit right by the campfire, which is, I think, kind of crappy. You know what I mean? I think it was better. Um, Less distractions. I think I was watching something. Some guy was saying something about, back then we knew we were having a good time because nobody was on their phones. And I thought, wow, I thought that's pretty, like I said, I've been even trying to keep the phones. I try to keep it on the charger. And I tell you what, it's hard. I don't know about you guys, but it's hard. It's hard not to be sitting there. And what gets me a lot of times is I'll be doing something and I'm like, oh, you know what? I should probably have the wife order something. Maybe an oil filter, maybe this, maybe that. And then it's like I go to reach for the phone, it's not there. And there's a constant like you need to gravitate towards it. So I try to my fix a little bit is I try to turn the radio on. So I try to turn the local radio station on, just listen to some music, but you'd be surprised how long it, you feel like you want to gravitate towards there. Well, maybe somebody messaged me, maybe you want to look up something. I've had, information or never fails. The other day or yesterday, or today was one of my kids got a little bit sick, not as bad as the other one so far, just sniffles. But the cat was laying, and I wanted to take a picture. And then all of a sudden, dawned on me, I'm like, I do the reach. I'm like, where's my phone? I'm like, crap, it's over by the computer. So I had to run, dodge over there. And so it's amazing how it seems like it keeps hooking you. You know what I mean? And then it's been kind of a sacred thing for up north. We always kind of talk about, and then it's like now I've been noticing too. Even my dad starts sneaking the phone out a little bit. You know what I mean? Like everybody, got to see what's going on or this and that. I mean, and it's like it's great, but it's also kind of a curse. I've had it where some of the kids miss me because I'm gone or something. You can, you're FaceTiming them, and it's like you're just sitting there going, "This is like amazing that we can do this." Like, and they're like, well, "What are you guys eating? What are you doing?" And so you can say hi to other people, whatever. But I could live without too. I really could. I tell you what, try to drive around with no phone. It's crazy. Like you feel like a young kid again. At least I do. I forget it sometimes. And I'm like, I got my phone. I'm like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? I'm like, what am I gonna do? You're gonna do what you've always done: survive. If you break down, you're gonna wave somebody down. You're gonna walk up to a house. You're gonna figure it out. You're gonna get the spare tire out. You're gonna limp it down the road. You'll figure it out. You know what I mean? And I remember emergency room. He says my dad was standing over me saying, "Oh man, effing brewery. Oh yeah." Sheriff says, "Well, I think you learned your lesson." Too much money? Yeah, it could be. It's always about money, isn't it? Money, money, money. Ooh, do the Ford vans? Some do, probably. The ones that we deal with, they got a chain. So sometimes they're known for a cam phaser issues on certain years. I'm trying to think which. I know it just depends on the model. I know the smaller cars Ford does use like a belt and stuff like that, um, but some use chain. The old six cylinder, right? Inline six. I guess that was a gear driven. That was the Iron Horse or something they call it. I guess that was a good motor. Older, back in the '90s and '80s or something. Anymore, I definitely learned lesson. Yeah, I'm not much of a drinker myself. I will occasionally, but I don't really don't like what it does for the next day. I like having my days. I value my days. Every day, every day is my birthday. Every day I wake up is a good day. Oh, do you think in the what's Tanner says? I don't know, Tony. Not to buy a Ford again, but you did, so I'm not sure. You learned your. It's really interesting. PT, can you do me a favor sometime? Obviously, no rush. Supposedly, those Fords went up to a certain year. I thought it was 2013. Can you find out? I'm assuming that's got the 5.4 in it. Can you find out if that's got the two valve or it's a three valve? Hmm. See, I didn't know that. I think I had a 2000. Gosh, that's it's really what's boggling me is because I only heard it in one video. I was like, what? I was like, I never heard that before. And I guess what gets me, I swear, I think mine was a 2008. Was it 2008? 2012. Doesn't seem like I'd have that new of a van. But that red one I used to have, that had the 5.4. And I always remember thinking, oh, this thing's known for having issues, and it never had an issue. And it had quite a few miles on it. And then I overlooked it, because you're just looking at the price. So, like Cap's van, the white one, I remember thinking, oh man, that car is going to eventually have to have the the cam phasers or the chains and stuff. And then I realized I didn't know that van had the 6.2. I was like, oh, it's got the 6.2. I was like, so it's good. The 6.2, like I looked on forums and forums and forums, and it was very, very rare to find a 6.2 with the cam phaser. And I thought, now how in the hell does that even work? I don't understand how you can go from a 5.4 that has cam phaser problems to a 6.2 that like doesn't exist, but still has cam phasers. Like to me, it's just a flawed design. So it's like, what did they do just that? Is it a little bit bigger to get more oil? They drill something a little bigger? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. But then when I heard that video and they said they went up to, I thought 2013 or something, and I went, oh, and see what's weird is if you look at those cutaway vans, I haven't done a lot of research on this. From what I see, they're doing the 7.3. They're doing the 7.3. Sometimes those things are eating up cams, so they got that variable oil pump sometimes, right? They don't like to sit and idle a lot, choose them up. So they do the 7.3, which is, I drove the 7.3. I like that motor. That's a powerful motor. That's a great motor. But well, I thought, okay, what are they doing? They doing some 8-speed? I don't know if Ford even did an 8-speed. Or are they doing a 10-speed? That damn 10-speed. Well, from what I've seen, it has 6-speed. And I went, oh, I said, why do we stick with the 6-speed? Oh, because it's more reliable, it's more robust. These are our commercial customers. These guys are smarter. These guys don't screw around. Like, what's the reason? What's the reason? Doesn't fit? What's the reason? I don't know. So, I don't know. I'm just curious. Get Volt. I don't know. Crafters over there. I don't think we get those. That doesn't sound familiar. My Ford made me so much money on two different businesses. I didn't play. It was a 10 grand well spent. They were the days. Yeah, I think that's like a Volkswagen Crafter. I think that's probably like, maybe it's like those Ram, what the heck are the Rams called? They're not Sprinters. They got a Sprinter, but they got their other small little, or like a Transit, like a Ford Transit. Mercedes Sprinter. Okay, with a Golf engine. Yeah, we can't. Well, they won't let us have that kind of cheap stuff around here. You know, we're not privileged for that kind of stuff. We have to buy SUVs with big gas guzzling V8s, and we have to have heated and cooled seats and heated and cooled steering wheels, and we need to have an iPad that's the size of a 2x2, 2 foot by 2 foot computer pad. Oh yeah, use some rock music. Nice. Iron Duke. Iron Duke. That's what it's called, isn't it? The Iron Duke. Guess that was good. I was surprised my grandpa didn't have that. It's really weird. I didn't realize until my one grandpa passed, but I started hearing stories that he used to. I don't know if you guys ever. I don't know if this was a nationwide. I think it was Yankees or Yonkers. Yankees Auto. I think it was Yankees Auto. Basically, it's now where Kmart. Now Kmart's gone, but I think it was Yankees Auto. I don't know if that was a franchise nationwide, or I don't know. I just know it was a Y something. But I started kind of looking at the trend of some of the vehicles he bought over the years. He always had a pickup truck. He had the Datsun. I always remember the Datsun. The Datsun was pretty cool. He'd always be in that thing, dup, 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 and he'd be shifting the steering wheel. You know what I mean? I always remember being like a little kid, feet sticking out, watching him shift. And then he had a Chevy. I remember the Chevy also had like a 3-speed on the column. Didn't have that one for too long. And then he went to the one I started to remember is he had a Ford. And looking at whatever, I think it was a 92, 96 Ford. But I was always like, I'm pretty sure he didn't have a 6-cylinder in there. I was like, I'm surprised he didn't go with that. I think the Ford platform was pretty good, the V8. But it was just weird to watch the trend he went because he basically didn't want to work on the stuff. Like he was a mechanic. He knew I don't make money working on my stuff. Now he's getting older and stuff, retired. He didn't really work on cars anymore. And then he went from that Ford. Then he went to the Toyota, the smaller Toyota Tundra. And I was thinking, like when I sit there and look at the history of what he was doing, I was like, I don't know. I never talked to him about this. I was a young kid. I was thinking, I think this man was like pretty damn smart. Like I was thinking he bought stuff that was very reliable. That Toyota Tundra was a great, the '03 era, the smaller body. Those were great trucks. Then he went to a full size Tundra. That was a great truck. The only one I feel like he slipped up maybe a little bit is he finally went to a Chevy Colorado, but I don't know what motor they had. I think some of those were pretty good with certain motors. And that was at the very end, and then he passed away. But I just kind of was thinking, well, damn man, I was like, this guy, after I watched these videos over the years and what vehicles were made and what good transmissions and motors, I'm always like, man, he had a good touch there. He was doing pretty damn good. Uh, it's coming up business here. I'm going to get these free candy signs. Ooh, free kind. Yeah, that's all right. My kids already. They go, Dad, why'd you get the? But it's funny because the one right, she says, why'd you get the creeper van? I said, the creeper van's what works. And then she was checking it out because it's got the seats in it. She was helping me. She said actually, she said she's gonna help me clean it tomorrow. We'll see. Yeah, but I just thought she's in there. It's got these weird lights. It's probably like mood lighting. I don't know. It's got like some red. Like you can flip the switch one way, it turns red LEDs on. Then it's got one that turns like clear LEDs on. I don't really know what's going on here, she was enjoying. She's like, "Whoa, that's really cool." I said, "Yeah." I said, so we'll see, we'll see. But I think I want to do like a slide out in it with my Milwaukee stuff in it. That's what I'm thinking. I'm just so glad the back door. Go to those transit seats in there. You can't get back. You have to climb over them. She could just fit, so I squeezed her in there. I was like, "Open that back door." And so it's not my like best choice I would ever say, but it's a good retired choice. You know what I mean? Where it's like it's no pressure. Like I said, insurance, 45, $43, whatever it was. You know what I mean? You can't go wrong. You know what I mean? Like it's you know what I mean? Like it could be you could take it up north and make it a deer chaser or something. You know what I mean? For out like a little ambulance. But like I said, it's gonna work. It needs a few little upgrades, but I'm just so happy if I don't have to use a truck, man. The truck is just it's too much, especially the security issues. That's the problem. You know what I mean? Can't leave your stuff in there. Dun, 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 dun. Cable guy, the cable guy. That's right. That's mine. Bad photo. I don't know if it'll show up. Probably won't show up on here. 32-inch dash screen. Yeah. The Chevy. Oh, we're just setting something on the Yanko there. Try to stay away from gates over here. Very temperamental. Yeah, I normally have 5 wireless safety edges on 8K2. Yeah, if you can find operators, they can bypass them on certain situations. They might be way more stricter. You know what I mean? We were talking about that. We definitely obviously load them up if it's kids and stuff like that. But most time we don't need to. We're kind of still the wild wild west. We don't need to have too much craziness on them. But they're trying, man. They're trying to get more and more. That's why I particularly like the Lanier. The Lanier is way more forgiving. Like I even asked Cap the other day because he works on them way more than I do. And I said, is there any way to like kind of bypass? I said the LiftMaster, and he's like, not that I know how. He's like, I guess you could stick a couple photo eyes or something looking at each other and stick them in the cabinet, but other than that, they got to see the 10K resistor, and you got to have one for the front, you got to have one for the back. He was a little confused because he kept thinking he's seen 4. It could accept 4 safeties for the Genie. I think it's just there's 4 different ways to satisfy the safeties on it. Not that you need 4 safeties, but the problem is if you start sometimes when you do edges go bad. So it's kind of a like give or take. I mean, you could definitely make a hell of a business out of it. You're doing preventative maintenance. Like we got to come here every 6 months to change your batteries, test your edges, and make sure everything's working permanently and properly. But I haven't seen AFD have that kind of time yet. I mean, they still do some sort of select customers, but there's definitely got to be a way to do a little bit better software. That I think they do put it in Jabber, so it brings it up. Because it seems like I'll come to, and I mean, I think it's about 50-50. Every time I go to a job and there's like a problem, my first instinct, I'm like, man, this is a nice place, like nice facility. I'm like, are we doing preventative maintenance on this? Sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's well, we haven't yet, and it's like you need to sign them up for a preventative maintenance package because I was like, that would help for this situation. Do, 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 do. Party of yeah. The van's like it's got a little bit. I think it's got a little bit bigger tires. I could see why he was having problems because it had a little bit of a high idle going on, and I didn't even know this existed. But what's really scary, and these are all the problems, right, when you deal with a used vehicle. But but everything so far has been like $25. I think I got $45. What was 45? I feel like there was something that's $40. No, maybe it was only $21 for the handle. Um, but I had a high idle, and I'm sure that's why when the guy put it in drive, it started spinning on him. I don't know what it is. I feel like the Fords are about the worst. I don't know if it's because how they're angled, like they're higher in the back. They just always seem like they're stuck. What I mean? Like I seem like their other one used to be like that. Caps isn't like that because he's got a ton of weight with the thing. But I remember the other van that we had. I think that was a 2000. I think that was 2001. So it's pretty similar to this one. This one's way cleaner than that one was. That one was pretty rotted. This one's definitely not as rotted. There's a little bit, but a little undercoating will definitely take care of that. There's nothing really protruding. So it seems like everything's pretty solid except for the I'm gotta watch that. The motor makes me nervous. I just hope they're in a cracked cylinder or something. Then what do? Change it out with a different motor? What do you do? Send it down the road? Like I said, the guy, of course, like a week later, messaged me the one Chevy I was looking at. He messaged me back and he's like, "Oh, I haven't messaged anybody." I'm like, "Yeah, of course you haven't, because I offered you $200 more than anybody else, and now you messaged me." I said, "I already bought something else." And what was getting me is I kind of wanted a seat. I wanted a seat in there. You know what I mean? I just kept thinking, I really think I want a seat. Just have the options if you have to bring somebody or if I bring one of the kiddos. It's just nice having that third spot. So actually, now I think of it, the way the seat one comes out, so actually it might be okay. I could still leave a seat in, and I think the door would sit past there. Might be onto something. Always a putty. What do you think, guys? We go about 6, or we'll go about 11:15. We'll wrap her up. Some people got church. Some people got to go night. Some people, all that kind of stuff. Well, we'll see how things play out, right? They always hit stuff over the weekend, so we'll see what tomorrow brings or Monday brings. I don't know. Turbo does the does the war affect you over there at all? Have you seen anything? Like you're gonna start seeing higher prices. Have you heard about any price increases? Like I said, our fence vendor, we got an 8 to 12%, depending on what the items are, increase. I think that's already effective. I know LiftMaster did a 4% increase. I'm sure this is going to cause other increases. Big peanut. Rich sent me something. Um, gas prices, that's going to increase. And everything is tied to gasoline, so your food prices will go up, all your products will go up, all the stuff, and then it never comes down. I never hear them say, "Hey," I never hear any vendor always going, "Wait, we're going to do a 3% decrease." What? No way. No, that don't happen. Goes up, stays up. That's a bummer, man. That's a bummer. I was watching something. They were saying how, like, I think in 1970, the average home was like 200,000, which I thought was kind of high. They say now though, obviously the house is 400, a little over, so it's doubled. And then they were showing how two incomes actually get screwed over the one income that used to be how the guy would go work, and that's because it gets taxed more. And then you have to pay for healthcare, or not healthcare. You have to pay for daycare. I was like, goodness gracious. I was like, this makes sense. This does make sense. It's just crazy, crazy, crazy. Almost up $1. Wow. Yeah, we haven't quite hit. I think we're like 60 cents, getting close. Three something. Three. I think for just regular. I don't know what diesel is. Haven't quite looked at that one, but I think it's gonna run. What's going on, especially when they're hitting all these. I think that's what it is. It's not even they were saying it's not even so much a war. It's actually it's more on energy. You know what I mean? And then it's a proxy war, in my opinion. You know what I mean? They're gonna, we're gonna have Russia. You know what I mean? You're gonna have China. You know what I mean? And then they're gonna paint it as they're the whatever. And I don't even know. I don't even know like I don't even know what it really initiated this. Was it because this guy had too many girls? You know what I mean? In this country, it was you know ran. I don't know why. I thought we had like these special teams. Just send them in. You know what I mean? Like I always was told, like if you don't like the neighbor dog, a little in the meat. You know what I mean? A little yeah, chuck it over the fence. Goodbye. You know what I mean? So I always think about kind of like the mafia. You know what I mean? Like hey Tony, hey buddy. You know what I mean? Thought we had these things called these super like people with these little scopes, right? You know what I mean? And like nobody's got to know. I don't know what happened. What happened? He just went away. I don't know what happened. Is it weird? Does anybody else feel like this is what I feel like? I feel like they got to do something bigger because I watch it and I watch these things come out of the sky and go, and I go, that's it. That's all that did. That looks like firecrackers. Like we need the big one. You know what I mean? Not saying that to do like they should do it or anything. I think that's just what I mean. That's going to cause some bad stuff. But I feel like I feel like I've been conditioned, right? It's like when you've been how do you say it? Like when you have the American way, like you've been conditioned, and you're just like I'm watching it. I'm like that's it. That's it. It's like you're going to a really bad fireworks show. You know what I mean? Like they had this has never changed. This is like they've had this for like 20 years. I've seen this. I've seen better. I've seen better. You know what I mean? And like, so I keep thinking, I go, gosh, if I think that or feel that, or am I going to put that onto the universe? I go, like, then they're going to show the one. I go, holy shit. I go, now that, you know what I mean? Like they keep saying like, a couple guys I watched a little bit, they were saying like with, Iran or whatever they're like, it's hard as hell to get in there. It's all mountains and terrain, just stuff's buried or whatever. And I'm thinking like, I'm sitting there just like, oh, it's hard to get in there. Oh, it's hard to get in there. Oh, I know what would take care of that. I know something that would level that place out. But obviously that would mean reactions, right, from other places. And then that would not be good. So I don't know. Mm. 1970. That's what I was kind of thinking. So even cheaper yet. You know what I mean? Think about it. But I thought they said the average was 200. I thought, man, that seems like a high number. I was thinking that's crazy. But I was like, I know damn well they doubled. I was like, but I don't know I don't know if wages have kept up. That's the big thing. $3.59 for some regular. I'm thinking that four. I'm thinking it could get 425 is what I'm predicting. 425, 450. I think then something will break where they'll we're gonna open up the reserves. We're gonna can beat this. You know what I mean? Because then they're gonna like hit like it's like I was telling one of the guys. I said it's always weird around here. I said I think because we're poor. I said it's like the gas will go up. I said but like a day or two later they bring it right back down. You know what I mean? It's just like damn, we can't sell no gas, man. This shit'll go bad. It's gonna sit in the tanks. Like nobody buying this stuff. You know what I mean? Like this area can't handle this. You know, just weird things I think about. And my stepdad always says, if you ever notice, I don't know if it's in your area, he always says Tuesday. He says they always raise it. I think it's Tuesday or after Tuesday. I was watching the chewing company the other day. Yeah, it started in the 70s trying to get more women into college and into workforce. Then after that, we're never recovered. Yeah, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Diesel, I don't know what diesel is. I know it's got to be four something. It's always about almost $1 more than gas, so it's probably like 420, 450. Do 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 do. Should have backed back in 1979. Ooh, works out today. Dang man, six something. Jeez, that's expensive. Depends on 14, 3 something, 360, as low as 3 for something a week ago. Huh. Makes it makes it glass. Oh man. I think the crummy part is this. It seems like stuff is just getting so skewed now, and I hate the fact that you got AI, a part of this where it's like you just don't know what's right or wrong or what's real. You know what I mean? Is this real? Is this person? Is this reporter? Is this, even if you watch CNN or Fox, they're a little bit more credible to some degree, but they're always pushing that certain narrative. And then it's like, some things it's just, I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Every Tuesday, Rich is on it. He knows what my stepdad knows. That's what my stepdad always says. Every Tuesday. See, your watch Tuesday it goes up. So get your gas before Tuesday, I guess, because that's when they take it up. Our government is. You're not the only one. Like I said, I don't know if they're just doing this to keep you busy over here. While they're doing something here, they don't want you to know some bad stuff that's going on. I mean, think about it. Think about all the distraction. Think about the stuff they're making people do. Maybe, you know, purchase a lot more stuff right now too. Getting ready. Oh no, the price could go up. I know. Um, some of the vendors don't do that anymore. They won't let you purchase a bunch of stuff. Don't forget the clocks, man. Good idea, Pop Tony. Set the clocks. That's right. Does it say 11? What time does that happen? Is it like 2 or something? I swear it used to happen at midnight. I used to watch it. I'd be like watching it on a cell phone or something like, oh, whoa, that was really cool. And now it's like always like at 2 or 3 or something. I ain't staying up that late. It's a very Western country until radicals took over. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, I unfortunately don't know enough about it. I just know we are the what is it? We have to be the powerhouse, that goes in and I don't know. I get this weird gut feeling that we don't have the support like we used to. You know what I mean? I feel like ever since we kind of did all those sanctions, that really pissed some people off. You know what I mean? And didn't really seem like it affected the old Russia too much. And they're carrying on. They do the same craziness over there in China. They print crap like crazy, blah, blah, blah. And I wonder if it'll ever change. I wonder if people will go back to possibly, you know, because I don't know, did Florida ever pass the? I swear I heard some news on it, but I don't know for sure if it ever passed and what the qualifications were on the no property tax, because I know they were kind of talking about like maybe like snowbirds not, but people that live down there were going to be exempt or something like that. Never seems like you go backwards. So I mean, even Michigan's talking about it. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, go eat a weenie. I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it. Um, but I don't know. It just seems like that. If you ever watched that Ray Dalio, he's got a good. It's probably a year or two old now. Video how they have to have a conflict and then there's a new world power. And I wonder what that's going to look like when we don't have the petrodollars our saving grace and we can't just print the stuff. Seems like stuff will get inflated quite a bit. I feel like everything kind of had a good trend for those years. The 50s, the 60s, 70s was a hiccup because in 1971 it came off the gold standard. All this stuff takes a long time. It's a big ship. You know what I mean? And that's why when I was a kid, like I said, you've seen people with second homes. I mean, I've seen cabins, I've seen windows, I've seen siding, I've seen all this stuff. People had a lot of disposable income. And then you started getting towards more like the end of the 80s, start getting in the 90s, things started kind of going like this. And then it was like you start getting like mid 90s, end of 90s, so 2000s, and it was like this. Then it seemed like it really took a big nosedive when the towers came down, and then there was kind of this like big belief, what I mean, we're all in it together type of thing, unite, and then you start realizing some stuff maybe is not so true, some of this, some of that, and it seems like we've been on this like we've never really totally recovered from that. And it seems like I remember when the cough syndrome was going on, I was always telling myself, I was like, this ain't good. It's like this is not good, because I was thinking we are training people to feel what it's like just to basically be really lazy. And I feel like we still have not came out of that, where we still have a lot of disruptions. We don't have a lot of senior people. It took out a lot of the I believe my dad was one of them. I was like I'm done with this crap. You know what I mean? I'm close enough to retire. I'm out. And we had a lot of younger people come in that just don't really care. Um, so we never, because I was even talking to Lanier. I said, "Is this what's going on with these circuit boards?" I said, "I feel like we're seeing more and more of these circuit boards." And he's like, "Well, ever since the cough syndrome, we're starting to weed out, because we had to get stuff from different vendors and some stuff had to be switched around a little bit." And I'm thinking like, we're still dealing with circuit board issues. I'm like this stuff is coming down the pipeline now. That's why it always scares me buying. Sometimes, like I always told myself when it happened was 2019. I was like, I'm not buying no damn cars after, not 2020s or 2021s, because man, could you imagine what those manufacturers are going through? They're throwing out those chips, not putting them in, all this stuff. Man, like, nope, I'm good. You know. And then now the problem is, it just seems like I mean, the only thing I could see is that is maybe I did find it unique that that guy was driving that newer, uh, what is it, the twin turbo, the Hurricane Dodge Ram, and he says the one thing he's noticed is his oil pressure doesn't go down. Like not like a variable speed one. He says they always got like 26 psi or something like that. I thought, well, maybe that is why those aren't having so many engine problems. Where everything else has this variable speed. I think the even the Hemis might have it, where they're talking about you have to upgrade to the Hellcat, so it pushes more oil through if you're doing a lot of idling. Hmm. Do, 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 do. 2 a.m., I believe, going on this country. Almost like what's going. Oh, yeah, world's police. Yeah. Oof. All local hotels are full of military age men from God knows where. Not cheap hotels either. Wow. Where are their kids? He says, I know I wouldn't be leaving without my kids. Huh. Even the K, yes, make Yorkshire. A lot of Middle East. Yeah, loads of them. They've been put in hotels next to a school. Huh, that's interesting. Got ordered to D post office a resource today. $400+ later. Holy moly. Yeah, exactly. Hey, what's up? As I can. I'm back. Hope you're doing good. We're not gonna stay on here much longer. And so I'm glad my kids are nowhere near. Well, I guess just remember tomorrow's Sunday. It's supposed to be the day of the Lord. So make sure if you do go to church now, you do lots of praying for lots of people because there's a lot of people that need a lot of help. A lot of evil stuff kind of going on, bad voodoo, all that good stuff. But otherwise, for now, I gotta go find me a midnight snack, and I gotta find me a bed, made with electric blanket. I don't suck my thumb anymore, so I'll need a bonnet. I used to call it a bonnet, but I need a warm blanket, a pillow, a little YouTube University, and I gotta go through some of your guys' stuff a little bit too. So all that good stuff. That's for yeah. That's for sure. All right, guys, I'm signing out. Have a good night. I'm gonna do a little vacuuming before I go too, though. Let's see how that vacuum works. See the Hoover, man. You guys have a good night. Peace out. Keep those fingers. Make sure you put them together tomorrow. Ask for some cheaper gas prices too, and for people to be safe, right? Because there's people out there too. They got children. They got children. They got wives. There's husbands. All that kind of stuff, and they're just trying to take care of their families too.